I'm muted. What a great start. It's been a couple of weeks since the stream, can you tell? Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 Word and to the qualifying watch-along for the 2025 Belgian Grand Prix. Yes, it is Spa weekend. Yes, I'm excited. If you caught the sprint this morning, then let's hope for rain tomorrow. But yes, hope you're all well. I went a little bit early there, and I've changed the countdown. I had a bit of feedback last week from a few, or not last time, from a couple of people saying that 6 minutes seems a bit long. So I've gone short with it, and nobody's ready. So we'll hang about, and I'll do some shout outs in chat and things as you start appearing. So apologies if you've disappeared and you're waiting for me in 3 minutes time, but I've already beat you to it. So I might go back to 6 minutes tomorrow just until we know it works. So I hope you're well. Hey to Pascal, he's in chat today. Hey to Michael as well, says morning. Hey Quinn, hope you well, says you remain the tops of our F1 chart. Sean, how is it that Haas have more straight line pace than Ferrari? We'll talk about the sprint etc shortly. Thank you very much though, Quinn, appreciate that. And Pascal says good afternoon, Sean and chat, how are we all doing? I'm very well, mate. A bit warm today for some reason, even though I think it's only about 18 degrees, but it feels really warm. Muggy. What a face that was. We've got a poll as well, as always, in the chat. Which team is taking pole position? McLaren, Red Bull, Ferrari or Mercedes? 57% of you already backing McLaren, 30% Red Bull, 13% Ferrari, Mercedes nothing as of yet, but that's mainly because yeah, it looks very much like It's McLaren versus Verstappen for pole. Probably McLaren the outright favourites, especially given Piastri's lap yesterday in sprint qualifying, which was absolutely unbelievable. What a lap that was. But we'll run through the sprint order in just a sec as well to let you know what happened this morning. I don't know what's happened in chat. I'm very confused. They've changed it again. Hey to Annette and hey to Kevin as well. Well, Annette says evening. Hey to Jithyu as well. For some reason, you've all now got crowns with numbers next to you, so now I can rate how good you all are. I'm guessing that's something to do with likes or something like that, but yeah. Interesting. I think I said hey to Kevin, but I'll say it again anyway. Why not? So yeah, the sprint this morning. Let's run through that then. But yeah, I think McLaren looking favourites for pole. We can get into predictions and things later. But sprint result for this morning. If you didn't see it, then you could have watched the first lap and then just sort of gone and done something else with it on in the background. To be honest, it was a bit DRS trainy up top. There was one moment where Piastri looked like he might be able to do it, and that was after a mistake from Max Verstappen, but even then didn't really work out. But it has given us some interesting stuff to look forward to tomorrow in the race, and indeed this afternoon regarding wing levels. It looks like McLaren might have gone with a slippier car, but anyway, Max Verstappen won the sprint this morning, 7 tenths clear of Oscar Piastri and 1.4 clear of Lando Norris in third, so 1.4 covering the top three. Definitely makes it sound more exciting than it was. Charles Leclerc was fourth, with Esteban Ocon in fifth. Sixth place for Carlos Sainz, the seventh for Ollie Bearman. Leclerc did briefly get ahead of Norris, but in the end, Norris obviously got back through, but really, Norris, Leclerc, Ocon, Sainz, Bearman all finishing where they started when it ended anyway. Hadjar, Bortoletto, Lawson round out the top 10. Of course, it's points to 8th place in the sprint for some reason. They all moved up one place because Gasly retired. Tsunoda was up 1 in 11th. Russell up 1 in 12th. Stroll was up 2 in 13th, Alonso 14th, Hamilton up 3 and 15th from 18th, 16th for Albon, 17th for Antonelli up 2, Hulkenberg down 1 in 18th, Colapinto up 1 in 19th, he started from the pit lane, and Pierre Gasly had a fuel leak or a water leak. It was one of the two. I think fuel leak was F2, so it would have been a water leak for Gasly, and then he wasn't going to start, and then started sort of 2 or 3 laps into the race and did a few laps before retiring. In fact, he did a total of 6 laps. There you go, according to this. So, yeah, let me know what you think in the chat. Did you enjoy the sprint this morning? Was it good? Was it bad? Was it just another sort of one of those sprints? I'm gonna say it again. I'd say it every time we have a sprint. I'm not having the it's better than a practice session argument, because anything's better than a practice session, because practice isn't supposed to be exciting. No practice is more entertaining than a practice session some weeks, so it doesn't really wash with me that it's better than practice, because it obviously it's a bit like the testing argument when people say it's boring, and FOM talk about maybe bringing in a mini race to testing to try and make it entertaining for fans. Testing and practice aren't supposed to be entertaining. It's why they never used to be broadcast, because there was no point. The only practice session worth watching is the first one of the season, and then the hype dies down after 20 minutes. So yeah, it was fine. It is what it is. I'm not going to bang on about the sprints and how much I'm not bothered by them. One of those that is a bit of a fence sitter when it comes to sprints. I don't think they add anything to the weekend, but they also don't really take anything away, because they're only taking away practice sessions. So, whatever. But at least it's only 6 a year for now. I imagine that'll be 12 before we know it. Watched the first lap and then fell back asleep again, says Michael. Yeah, fair enough. And that's, I enjoyed it because there was 1 second between the top 3. Yeah, there's a tension there that something could go wrong. But I've seen, I think Aldas put it on Twitter that he... and he's had some grief in his replies to it as well, that it proves that you don't need lots of overtaking for an exciting race. It wasn't exciting. You needed Max Verstappen to make a mistake, which he did, for Oscar Piastri to have a chance of getting through, which he didn't. So it wasn't exciting, but it was more enjoyable than Max being 8 seconds up the road, Piastri being 4 clear of Norris, and nothing happening at all. But it wasn't a thriller, let's put it that way. But then what is in Formula One these days? It's not always, is it? It's going to rain tomorrow. Should Red Bull sacrifice quali, Sean, says Jithu. It's really... This is what I wanted to get into, because I'm really confused by what people are going to do this weekend, because Max Verstappen's come in with a skinny rear wing, which is... It worked out for him today. He was able to keep everybody behind him. And it got that boost on Piastri, I'm doing two things at once there, Piastri at the start. So that was a really smart call from Red Bull. And because he's such a ridiculously good driver, he was able to drive that car through the middle sector and not be too far off the pace. He was clearly slower than the McLarens in the middle sector, but he did a great job with that lack of downforce. The trouble is, as we saw at Silverstone, when it rains, if there is a lack of downforce on your car, you're going to struggle. That's what Max Verstappen did, didn't he? At Silverstone. So do you go with a skinny rear wing today because it worked for you in the race, knowing that rain is going to turn up at some point tomorrow? In fact, I think rain at some point in the race is pretty much a guarantee. Just everyone's arguing over how much and when. My weather app on my phone says thunderstorms from 2 o'clock, but then I think it's the Met Office one says a 30% chance of rain at 2 o'clock, and then another one says that there's a 70% chance of a light shower halfway through the race. So nobody really knows. It's Spa, but do you sacrifice qualifying as has been suggested there by Jithu and focus on downforce for the race, or have you just got to, in a place like Spa where the weather can change in a heartbeat, you just have to play the hand that's in front of you, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say there. The focus needs to be quali, get pole position, hope you can hang on down that straight, and if it rains, deal with the consequences then, because it looks like McLaren, only a theory, have maybe trimmed some downforce off their car. Oscar Piastri did hint at it during his post-race interview, his post-sprint interview, that it's something to consider, but do Red Bull put a bit more on? Do they leave it as it is? I mean, it's going to be really interesting, really interesting which way people go. But Parc Fermé, of course, opens up again after the sprint race to give us these variables in a weekend, which I think is a good thing. So difficult. 15-lap race, by the way, today, which was, I look, I'm never going to be positive about sprints around Belgium other than I get to watch F1 cars racing around Belgium twice. That's the only positive around Spa, 2 races. But the sprints are perfectly suited for the Red Bull Ring, for Interlagos, tracks like that, short tracks, lots of DRS. That's where they thrive. I don't think Spa works. So there you go. Not that it matters, because Spa's going to be going to a biannual race because, we need to get another Middle East racing somewhere, or maybe another one in the Americas. I don't know. But another street track, probably Madrid. I'm going to say it, last moan, I promise last moan, the amount of, excuse my language, shit we've got on the calendar, and we might be losing Spa. No chance. I'm not having that. That's out of order. Where was I? I enjoyed it because I've read that one. I missed F1 too, but at least I was able to celebrate Nico and Sauber's podium properly. Stop party on Monday night, says Pascal. Yes, last time we spoke, Nico Hulkenberg had just left me nearly in tears on a live stream. I had to do one of those, I've got something in my eye moments. But it was quite an emotional moment. But having a sprint race over 16 laps at a track that is almost 2.5 overtaking spots is a decision. The race wasn't the worst, but it's not going to go down in history, says Fudd. Yeah, do you know, that's probably the best review of the race. I've seen worse, but I won't be remembering this one anytime soon. If Spa paid, they'd still be in. Well, yeah, it's all down to money, isn't it? Maybe they can go see if they find some oil somewhere. Maybe there's some in the river that they haven't spotted yet. Or some gold. They might find some gold in there. That's what they need to do. We'll all go down there. It's all about money, but yeah. Last moan until the next one, but moans are fine as long as they justify, says Fudd. Yeah, I moan a lot. I'm older than maybe some. I don't know. I know I'm not as old as others that are in the chat. Looking at you, Kevin. But I like to have a moan sometimes about F1. I'm not happy with the way it's going, but I can't not watch my F1 cars on a Sunday afternoon. So I'll moan about it, but I'll still tune in every bloody week and just watch it and then be a massive hypocrite. But there you go. RMF says, I think it works at Spa. I disagree, but I'm trying to think if there's a worse track for it. It's all about opinions, isn't it? I just don't see Spa as a sprint track. I think the shorter tracks are better, but maybe it's just trying to give us extra action around Spa. I don't know, but look, the big question today, I think, really, rather than the sprint, is, and I'll put it to you in chat, do you want pole position today if you're Max Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris? Is that where you want to be? Because as we saw this morning, everybody predicted Max Verstappen would get past on the Kemmel Straight and into Les Combes, and that's exactly what he did. And he never looked back. He had a slippery enough car, was able to use his battery as intended to keep Piastri at bay, did a great job with it as Anthony Davidson runs around Spa with a drone for reasons. But yeah, I think second place, a bit like Mexico, second place isn't the worst idea, is it? If you want to be P1, that's the whole point of racing, right? But if you could be P2, it's not going to make you cry too much tonight. I mean, what year was it in Mexico? Was it 2019, 20, where Max Verstappen started, I think, third on the grid, and then breezed around the outside of both Mercedes into turn one? Jamie says there's an extra practice preferable. Maybe Jamie, I don't know if Jamie was here when I was saying this earlier, but the sprint is better than practice doesn't wash with me as a debate, because practice is not supposed to be entertaining. It is better than practice, of course it is, but I've had showers that are better than practice sessions, so it's not really selling much, is it? But I'm not, just to be clear to anyone who didn't catch it earlier, I'm not anti-sprint. I'm just not one of these that feels a need to rave about how great they are, but I'm also not going to talk about how crap they are all the time, because we've had good sprints. Brazil a couple of years ago, in fact, Brazil last year I think was quite good as well. So if it's the right track and the right conditions and we get a mixed up grid, it's entertaining. But outside of what happened at the front between Verstappen and Piastri today, what happened? Nothing really. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you it was amazing when it clearly wasn't, but I'm also not going to sit here and tell you that it's more entertaining than the practice session, because it isn't. But it's just not a very good argument. But I get the point. I'm not going to go over it again. Let's move on from sprints, because my final point on this is, if sprints are so wonderful and so widely loved, then why they have to be defended every single time they run? So, there you go. If something's good, you don't need to talk about it. It'll just happen, won't it? Can't watch today, but dropped a like. Fingers crossed for a grid that qualifies in alphabetical order, says Moray. I think it's bloody close. You'll take what you can get. I think it's so bloody sorry. Yeah, I understand what you mean now. And talking about the pole position thing. Marta's looking forward to proper quali. Hey Marta, hope you're well. If I were Ferrari, I'd keep an eye on whatever Red Bull and McLaren do with their wings and do the opposite. Isn't that Ferrari strategy playbook though? Look what everyone else is doing, do the opposite, and then realise you probably should have done what everybody else was doing. So that would be quite in keeping with what they do, Fud. The only thing on Ferrari, by the way, lots of quiet optimism coming into this weekend regarding this new rear suspension that's been spoken about quite a lot. People are very excited about this new rear suspension, and this is going to be the leap forward Ferrari needed. And I think Charles Leclerc said on the team radio during the sprint, just let me know when it's the last lap. Long way off in qualifying, long way off in the race today. Did get that jump on Lando Norris off the line, which was good, but was never going to keep him behind. Lewis Hamilton nowhere after his spin yesterday. Leclerc not really. Ferrari are in a mess, and I'm going to say it. There is a rumour that they've abandoned their Azerbaijan floor update, which I need to get confirmation on, but I've not seen confirmation on, but apparently they've abandoned that. If I were Ferrari, I wouldn't even bother past Spa. Just turn up for the races, do what you can, try and drag a good result out, and put absolutely everything on next year, because you are paying... not Lewis Hamilton's fault, but you are paying Lewis Hamilton an absolute fortune as one of your superstar drivers. You want to see him win a title in that car, you need to give him the car to do so next year. So forget about this year. You're not going to catch McLaren. Red Bull have only got a one-car team anyway. Mercedes are two all over the place. Just pick up your points, focus on the car, get 26 right, and maybe, just maybe, here it comes. Next year will be our year. Been saying that since 2009. But there you go. Pascal says, looking forward to the Hungaroring next weekend, as I will be there. Should be a great weekend and good fun. Have a great time, Pascal. I'd love to go there. It's one of the tracks on my bucket list, along with, I think, pretty much every other track on the calendar. But I know I started writing a preview this morning for next week, and I have put in the intro that Hungary is one of those races that growing up I really didn't look forward to, because it always seemed a bit dull. But I don't know if it's tweaks to the tracks in some areas with runoff and maybe the way these cars are now, but I think it's actually one of the better races of the year, which is quite incredible. It's not one of the best, but it's one of the better races of the year around Hungary. So I tend to look forward to that. And it is the last race before the proper summer break. We've had the dress rehearsal, as I called it, on Thursday. Now we've got the proper one coming up, and Sean's got 2 weeks off. So I will tell you now, before we get into quali chat too much, before I answer some of your questions, I'm off for 2 weeks in August, because I get annual leave now. It's so nice. I get proper annual leave, so I'll be pre-recording some videos, but you'll have a little bit of Elizabeth those 2 weeks, and Sam will be tackling all the shorts, as he pretty much does anyway. So I'm not leaving. I'm just having 2 weeks off, and I'll be back for Zandvoort. So if I'm not around as much, then that'll be why. But don't worry, I've not run away yet. Not kicking and screaming just yet. Craig says, evening all. Hey Craig, hope you're having a good one, mate. It is Saturday today, isn't it? It is indeed. That's my one complaint about sprints, actually. If I could have one complaint about sprints, it's that it completely completely throws me off every weekend. I don't know what day we're on anymore. So here we are. Saturday, ready for qualifying. Can't wait. Hungary 2019 is one of my all-time favourite races, says John. Is that the one where Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen were just relentless with their speed all race and they just disappeared completely? That for me is proper good racing. Two of, if not the two best drivers on the grid, pushing flat out, forcing strategy. Oh, that was such a... If that's the one you're talking about, that is exactly what I mean. I love that race, John. It's such a good race. It might not look great to everybody else on the results page when those two have disappeared, but when you're watching it, it was exciting to watch. So it looks like Max has a bigger wing for quali, says John. I do wonder if they went for it in a sprint yesterday and now they're looking about... looking at the tomorrow and the rain, and like I said earlier, do you want to go with too skinny a wing if you've got to deal with the showers and thunderstorms potentially? Tomorrow you don't, so maybe they do get, maybe that's it. Maybe they'll be settling for a third place on the grid and then try and slipstream down to turn 5 tomorrow and maybe gain a place. But Hungary 2021, says Jithu. Ocon's win, wasn't it, 21? And the really bizarre start, we had one car on the grid. Oh, no, 2 cars. The medical car was there, to be fair, but it doesn't count. So, that was it. Just Lewis Hamilton lining up on pole, everyone else pitted, and that was it. Stiggy Lol says, I took me a minute to read that, sorry. Says, how about the step Oscar has taken this year? Everyone always talks about a driver's third year in the sport. Who's had third year like Piastri lately? He's been unbelievable this year. That's on my list, actually. Now you bring it up as my potential summer break content. So I might make something on that, actually. That's a very good point. So he's impressed me. Over the winter, a lot of talk about, this year he needs to get closer to Lando and needs to iron out his mistakes and take a step forward. And then he's turned up and I think surprised everybody. I think he's been a big surprise, not as a driver that we all knew he had talent, but I think the way he's made the step forward this year has been a bit of a surprise. Isack Hadjar for me has been one of the surprises of the season, by the way. On that note, that's gonna be a video for the summer break. I think he's made a massive step forward. So good. I might have to come back to that one though when I'm thinking about the 3 who's had the best third year like Piastri lately. Because I'd need to go back and look. Because for example, Lando Norris, I feel like he's still been in sport for like 2 or 3 years, and he's been here for quite a while now, relatively speaking. But so I'd need to go back and look at that. But I agree, he's taking a big step forward. Lewis boxed with 20 laps to go and caught him. Even as a Max fan, I didn't care who won that race. Oh, it's great, John. I know exactly the race you're talking about. Really enjoyed that one. 2019 was great, says Pascal. That was my first visit to the Hungaroring. Are you going into Budapest, Pascal? I used to work with somebody who was from Budapest, and they were quite keen for me to go there at some point and just take in the beauty of it all. It always looks very spectacular. Have a poll asking whether or not you deserve a leave, Sean. I deserve a leave. I mean, look, when I've taken breaks in the past, there's been no content. This is one where I can actually go away and not have to worry about what's going on. I could just pre-record some stuff, disappear. Sam's going to keep an eye on everything. So it's like, look, if Sam's keeping an eye on it all, it's likely to burn down. We know that. But we'll see how we go. He'll probably just keep putting quizzes out for you all because he loves doing the quizzes. And I do want to make an apology, by the way, on the quiz front. A lot of people, and some of you in chat as well, said that the first quiz we did was far too easy. So we made the second one harder, and apparently it's too hard. So I apologise. It's not my fault you can't name Johnny Herbert's teammates from 1997, but, you could probably tell in that quiz which questions I came up with, but there you go. I apologise. What's this about Spa leaving the calendar, says Will? It looks like it's not 100%. I think it has been floated, but it looks like it's going to move to a biannual event and rotate. Although that was when Zandvoort was still going to be around, so they might change that now. I don't know, but it sounds like it's going to rotate with another European round, which, not leave altogether, but alternate years at Spa. Look, alternate years at Spa is better than no years at Spa, but it should be. Here comes Grandad again. Silverstone, Spa, Monza. Got to be another one in there as well. I'd even argue Interlagos, given the racing it gives us. They've got to be on the calendar every year without a thought. They just have to be there. And it's a shame they can't get the special dispensation that Monaco used to get. They don't get it anymore, but that they used to get. Anyway, I've not spoken to you all for 2 weeks. Can you tell? We are about to get going for quali. We're 6 minutes away, so we'll do some. I'll read some of your comments. I'm sure there's some really great stuff in there that I've missed, but I apologise. You can get your question, get your podium, or not your podium, your top 3 predictions in, or your pole sitter predictions in. Let me know who you're going to go with. I went with Piastri on Thursday. I'm actually quite mad at myself because I was going to go Piastri for sprint pole and the sprint win, so I would have at least got a point there in my predictions, but I'm sticking with him for pole today and the win tomorrow. So yeah, get your predictions in chat and I'll read a few of your comments while you're getting those in. Ted says Ollie's gone for a barn door of a rear wing, says Fud, so maybe they're setting up for the rain tomorrow. Very much a possibility. I went to Hungary for the second race ever, says Kevin, back in 1921, and he was still only 54 years old. Kev, you're still a spring chicken. No, so that's 1988. The first race was the year I was born, wasn't it? 86. Read that one. Sorry, I'm going back to read things all over again. So this is your old science-loving mate named Clay, by the way. Different name. It's great to be back. Hey, Clay. Hope you're well. Love the name Clay. So there you go. Kind of disappointed you've got a new name, actually. I've got to say, very disappointed, but there you go. The perfect difficulty for a quiz is someone knowledgeable gets 5 out of 10 right, but feel like they could have got 8 and want to come back for more. Exactly. And that's going to ban me after that comment. Norris, Leclerc and Verstappen top 3 for Fud. Pascal is going to go into Budapest, starting in Buda. Is quite the night and move local, more local than the city centre. Will commute between Budapest and the Hungaroring. Annette's gone for Oscar, Max and Lando. Boring, I know, not at all. That's could be interesting, couldn't it? And CPB, I am going to talk about Max Verstappen after the session, mate. I've got an article here from Thomas and some other stuff that I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. So if I'm not here tomorrow, it's because I've been sacked. But there you go. So it could happen. Yeah, good luck with that. So yeah, no, I want to talk about that because the Max Verstappen stuff. And to be fair, CPB, I did say 2-3 weeks ago, I was 99.9% sure he was staying. That's what's happened. So we are going to come back to that after the session because we are going for it here. The music's kicked in. Crofty is doing his short version of my Thursday preview. Let's put it that way. Yeah. Watch mine. It's better. So yes, but I'll get everything set up. I will say, of course, as always, it shouldn't need to be said, but I'm going to say it anyway. No on-track footage for obvious copyright reasons. We don't own the rights. I can't afford the rights. One day, maybe, who knows? But FOM come down on you on photos sometimes, so I'm not going to take a risk on showing the footage. I'm sure there are plenty of illegal streams out there if you're desperate. But we have got live timing and track map provided by the awesome folks over at Multiviewer for F1. It is a free service, of course, but you do need to have some sort of F1 TV subscription. F1 TV access is enough, so you can use that one if you prefer. And yeah, that's about it. As much data or as little data as you'd like in your stream. Links in the description, all of that jazz. They don't sponsor, but it is very, very nice of them to let me use this. So I like to give them a good shout out at the start and try and send some people their way. But I'm fairly sure, number one, if you're regular to the stream, I'm sure you're already using it. But if you are following F1 closely, I'm pretty sure most of you probably know what Multiviewer is, but definitely go check them out if you haven't. Risk of rain for qualifying is 10%. Let's get the track map up for you as well, so we can keep an eye on that one. Of course, I will try and keep updated with what's going on. It's not supposed to be an alternative commentary, but it ends up being an alternative commentary because I can't help myself sometimes. It is just supposed to be fans sat watching F1, but yeah, I can't help it. I get a bit excited at times, so there we go. Croft's Tyre Talk doesn't hold a candle to yours, Sean. Absolutely not. Of course it doesn't. No. Can he do a quadruple segue or a triple segue into Tyre Talk? I don't think so. You know, of course he can't. Well, I said I'd talk about that in a bit, CPB. Don't worry about that one. Are we pleasantly surprised about Haas this weekend? Yes. Generally, start of the season, yeah. They've sort of tailed off a little bit lately, I feel like. That might just be a flippant comment without checking all the details. We've got an unsafe release, Ollie Bearman there on Fernando Alonso, but usually that's just followed by a ticking off and a bit of a reprimand, so no worries there. I'll go with Oscar or Max for pole, says CPB. And yeah, there you go. I'll close the poll now. We usually leave it open, but I'll close it now. Thank you for your votes on that one. 66% of you It's a majority are going with McLaren for pole. 65 as it turns out for some reason. They like to round down on YouTube. 26% for Red Bull, 7% for Ferrari. Not a single person thinks Mercedes have a shot at pole position, which means they've been watching the weekend so far. It's the Mercedes shirt. I'm trying it, and you know, to anybody new to the channel, first of all, welcome. Secondly, I'm not a Mercedes fan. I just really like their merch. It's a bit weird, a bit odd, but yeah, it's just a nice t-shirt, and I like to wear it, and it's comfortable, and it's airy in the summer. It's one of those. So I don't know what this is all about, but there you go. This is going to sound like I'm on crack, but I still think Max is in the fight, says CPB, for pole or for the title. It's been noted that unsafe release, by the way, but yeah. 10 seconds until we get going for Q1. Oh, here we go then. We go. Qualifying is underway in Spa. I thought I'd have a little breather there. Why not? Try and build some tension. Didn't work. I'm not sure about the title, CPB, honestly, for Max Verstappen. But until it is... maybe not mathematically, but until that gap is pretty huge, you can't really rule him out, because there's always a possibility that things get a bit spicy between the two McLarens. We know what he can do at some of the races coming up, so I wouldn't say I'm confident he's in a title fight or has a shot, but again, at the same time, until it's mathematically impossible, can you really... It's a bit like Michael Schumacher in that regard, and other greats as well. I'm sure Hamilton fans will say the same, and Senna fans and others as well, but you can't ever rule them out until it's completely impossible. So you never know. If there are enough wet races, Max can win the title, says Clay. I want to call you Clay now. That's it. You've had it. I'm not using your new name. I don't like it. Oh, so okay. So Hulkenberg hit Lance Stroll in the pit lane, which is why he's now having a new front wing fitted. And he did. Stroll says the Sauber just drove into me. The Sauber did just drive into him. But Hulkenberg he had a wheel over the line, so is he in the fast lane at that point? Well, that's stupid, isn't it? I mean, that's just so unnecessary. Yeah. Weird. Very weird. Hey, Kaori, hope you well. Ready for pole position or qualifying today, and who's going to get pole position? I think Piastri's got this one. I'm going to say it now. 100%. That's Piastri P6 then. But yeah, no, got cars out on track. Pretty much, is everybody out there more or less? Yeah, getting there. Everyone's sort of queuing, so interesting. But I really can't quite understand why Hulkenberg and Stroll have done that. Hulkenberg felt he had a wheel in the fast lane, went for it. Stroll wasn't going to wait. Collision. Very strange, but there you go. I just feel like Red Bull could bring monster upgrades after the summer break if Max stays. McLaren could drop, or Lando and Oscar will take too many points off each other. That's a good point on them taking points off each other, yeah. I'm not sure about updates after the summer break. The line from Red Bull a couple of weeks ago, Helmut Marko specifically, was that either after Silverstone or after Spa, they would stop with the upgrades and focus on 2026. They bought a new front wing this weekend, and I think something else as well. But it's expected that for the most part, this weekend is the last weekend we're going to see much development on these cars. But I guess you've got, we have a summer break. The summer break, it's 4 weeks until the next race, but it is actually only 2 weeks of a break. So there are 2 weeks around that where they could still develop something and bring it, I suppose. But I don't think there'll be much after that. But yeah, we'll see. I'd like him to be in it because he keeps it interesting. Piastri Norris isn't... it's not tetchy enough yet to be that entertaining, if you know what I mean, like dramatic. Although they've had a few moments, haven't they? So we'll see. Carlos Sainz looks like the first one to do a lap here. He's got a bit of traffic here with Liam Lawson, but yeah, is he the first one to do a lap? Apparently not. Apparently Colapinto is on one, and Gasly. Look, we're focusing on Sainz, so usually they focus on the first one, but not today. They're focusing on others. But Colapinto, he needs a big weekend, by the way. I'm not convinced by this talk that he will definitely be in the car until Abu Dhabi. I think he needs to start to show some performance. This is different to Doohan. Very different to Doohan. Doohan had the one race in Abu Dhabi in Ocon's car that he'd never driven before at short notice. I'm not even going to count that as a race to really look at his performance. And then he got, 5 races in 2025? Colapinto had quite a few with Williams at the end of last year and has now had quite a few races. He needs to step it up now. But I think Alpine have got a big decision to make on drivers next year anyway. Gasly will stay. Gasly's not going anywhere. We know that. He's a quality driver, but who sits in that second seat? Will it be Aaron? Will they go with whoever Cadillac don't go for? Bottas apparently moving ahead in that race now, so that's fun. Sainz pits. A lot of people on used tyres, by the way. Piastri, Norris, Leclerc, Hamilton, Stroll, Alonso, Sainz, Albon, Ocon, Gasly, Bearman, Hadjar all on used. Of course, across the sprint weekend, you get fewer sets of tyres, so difficult. CPB says Valtteri will get the Alpine seat. Our information at the moment is that there are no conversations there, but you can't believe everything you hear in the paddock. You know what they're like. They're crafty. They hide things. They're cheeky. I assume they're going to look at the Hulkenberg Stroll one. They will after the session. That I don't imagine a sporty penalty. It probably still will be a reprimand, but they might go with that as a sporty penalty. 41.9 for Piastri, 42 flat for Norris. So first blood in that battle on the used tyres goes to Piastri. But yeah, a lot of cars back in the pit lane. So curious start to the session. This is part of the problem with the sprint, or not problem, part of the game of a sprint weekend, isn't it? See how they feel on the used tyres and then get in and go for fresh, I assume. Colapinto on the mediums, by the way. But a lot of cars pitting, not even getting laps in. So what's Lewis Hamilton going to do? Will he pit as well? No, Hamilton pits as well. Antonelli, I'm guessing, is he going to pit? No, he's gone on. So we might get a lap here from Antonelli on the board. He's starting his now. Yeah, a bit of a weird start to the session, but that's sprint weekends for you. It does it at times. But yeah, no, I'm not sure what this is about. I thought they might get banker laps in with the rain potentially around, but 10% is 90% chance it'll stay dry. So has anyone looked? We're on board with the Red Bull now. Looking back at Max Verstappen, can't see his rear wing. Has anybody had a look at that and seen how fat the rear wing is compared to this morning? It does look a little bit chunky, doesn't it? It's not Monaco levels or anything stupid like that, but it's definitely a slightly chunkier rear wing. So maybe they are looking at tomorrow. I mean, I'm just watching in the speed trap if we can here. Let's have a look. So where's Max Verstappen? There he is. Where is the speed trap in Spa? It's down the Kemmel Straight, isn't it, I think? Possibly. We'll find out in a second. He's going to go through it, and I'll tell you how quick he is. And then we'll be able to work back from there, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But everyone could back out again on new tyres. So everybody but Piastri and Norris on new tyres. Ocon still on used, but I imagine he'll be in for a fresh set soon. Bearman as well. So Verstappen 3:10 through the speed trap, 3:14 to Russell, 3:15 to Antonelli. So yeah, I can't remember what it was this morning. I did put it somewhere. I can't remember what it was now. But yeah, I guess it gets a bit chunkier. Is that debris out there on the what they're calling the corner with no name still? But I believe it's Jackie Hicks, isn't it? That corner now. But again, even if you call it the corner with no name, you've given it a name. So, that Sauber might get an impeding warning there or penalty. That looks a little bit borderline, but Max seems to be still pushing on nice and hard here and going for a well. Let's see, is a 10th down on Piastri. These are fresh tyres on Verstappen's car as well. So 10th down on Piastri in the middle sector on a fresh set of tyres versus Piastri's used set. So 43.5 in the middle, 507, sorry, for Piastri in the middle, 578 for Verstappen. So, yeah, we'll see what he does here. Bortoletto 42.8. He's had a good weekend so far as Bortoletto. Actually, Sauber on a heck of a run, aren't they, at the moment? Verstappen moves into second place, 700ths off the fastest time by Piastri. But again, that's on a fresh set of soft tyres. Lawson is pretty pacey in the middle sector. Purple, actually, 43.4, a 10th quicker than Piastri. So decent stuff here from Lawson. Again, though, he's now on a fresh set of tyres versus the used set from the McLarens. Just going to refresh the stream again, make sure we're still working. I don't want to insert an ad. Thank you very much, YouTube. Here comes Lawson over the line. Bearman's now gone purple in the middle sector. Lawson goes fastest. That's a bit of a surprise, because I know he's on the new tyres, but Max Verstappen was on new tyres as well. So was Verstappen hindered by that Sauber a little bit? Or did he make a mistake somewhere? It's looking that way, because 7 thousandths off his Albon in second place. And I'm not expecting Nico battling for pole, and Bearman goes third. So Piastri, Verstappen and Norris drop down. In fact, Bearman was on used tyres there, which is interesting. What's he done tyre life-wise on those, Bearman? They have done 8 laps those used tyres, compared to Piastri 6 and Norris's 6. So actually, that's a very competitive time from Ollie Bearman, with Carlos Sainz going fastest on 1:41.691. So that's actually a really competitive tie from Ollie Bearman. That's not tyre related, because he too is unused. Interesting. Track will be ramping up. Yeah, not track Evo is moderate in Spa. I think it's 3 out of 5 on the Pirelli scale, 5 being very high, 1 being very low. So middle of the road there. But yeah, Bearman, impressed with that time there. So yes, I am quietly impressed with Haas. There you go. To answer that question from earlier in the stream. Leclerc goes fastest, 41.635. That's new tyres. Everyone now heading out on new tyres again, except for Ocon, who I assume will be in pretty swiftly with 7 minutes to go. No, he's going to go set his time, and he goes 13th. So that again, that's a very, very good lap time from Ollie Bearman. Lewis Hamilton purple in the first sector, personal best in the middle on these fresh set of soft tyres around the final chicane, which apparently Martin Brundle refuses to call the bus stop. So there you go. Only 6th for Hamilton. Interesting. Where did he lose his time? Middle sector, 43.8 to Leclerc's 43.5, so 3/10 in the middle to his teammate there. So there we go. Bearman was slower in S1, but Monster the middle sector, says Fudd. What was his best? 43.3, yeah, 2/10 quicker than Leclerc in the end. So interesting. It was really mixed up after sprint quali though, wasn't it? So maybe we'll get a little bit of that again. That'd be cool for tomorrow. A mixed up grid with more laps and strategy and potential rain would be very exciting, actually. Proper racing tomorrow. I say lots of laps. Only 44 lap race, isn't it? So the track is that long, just over 7 kilometers. So it's a big one. Leave it. Through into Les Combes, because Norris, he is 2/10 down on Leclerc, is a personal best, but again, this is on a fresh set of soft tyres. So is it the extra downforce in that first sector hampering them? Let's see through the middle sector. Could be a good shout, this actually. See what he does through here. 43.547 is the time to beat in the middle sector. If he does beat that, then they've obviously got the downforce on to cope with that car. The speed they carry through there is ridiculous. It really, really is through Pouon. It's wow. Madness. Through the chicane. What's he doing in the middle? That's what I want to know. Is it purple? It is 42.9. He's 6/10 quicker than Leclerc in the middle sector. So that McLaren has got some downforce on it still. Again, maybe with an eye to tomorrow's rain potentially. I think a couple of surprises in here at the moment. I'm still surprised by Verstappen's time on the new tyres. Piastri not improving. 30.3 in the first sector. 3/10 down on Leclerc. So that's an interesting one as well. I wonder, a lot of 41.0 for Norris. That's 6/10 clear of anybody else. Everybody up there now on fresh sets, apart from Ollie Bearman on those used sets, which is, again, still a good lap. But then Piastri's gone purple in the middle. So what to do? A 10th quicker than his teammate. Still down overall because of that poor first sector. This is just about getting into the next session, though, so he doesn't need to be worrying too much as long as he gets through. But yeah, don't know what to say. I feel like this qualifying session feels weird so far. I know it'll pick up as the afternoon goes on, but just that first few laps on the used sets for everybody is Piastri goes second, 2/10 off his teammate, lost 2/10 in the final sector as well. So middle sector aced it, first and final sector. First sector poor. Well, I say poor, it's a 10th lower than his teammate, and then second sector a 10th again. So that's why Piastri is only in second place. I worry we will not be seeing Yuki next year, says Kevin. Couldn't get that out, could I? I mean, it depends what he does in the second half of the season, but I mean, the car's awful. Laura Mekis might decide to give him the benefit of the doubt, a whole new car that everyone's going to be learning, and see how he gets on early next year. But it depends whether Helmut Marko wants to pull the trigger, doesn't it? And who goes there. I'd almost prefer Hadjar to have a second season at Racing Bulls rather than rushing him. I don't think they need... Wow, do they? We'll come back to this because that ties into what I was going to say later about the Max Verstappen situation. So they might need to put Hadjar in that car next year, but we'll get onto that later. Long story short, if you're not sticking around for the poster quali waffle, he ain't going anywhere for next year. But we'll get into that a little bit later. We've got quali to watch. Can Lewis Hamilton and George Russell and Kimi Antonelli do better than yesterday? I mean, they can't do much worse between them, but was George Russell 13th after quali yesterday? Shocking. CPB thinks Lance Stroll will quit after 26 and Tsunoda will be the reserve at Aston next year. Will Stroll ever quit? That's the question. He doesn't have to, does he? But you want to win championships, you need a potentially better second driver than Lance Stroll. So here comes Antonelli over the line to start his lap. Everybody out on track right now on new tyres except Charles Leclerc, who's on a set of used tyres. And used, I have to say it that way, so I'll make sure I say it properly. They've done 3 laps, so they're not massively used. You'd still be quite happy with them. But yeah, something actually, I know they're different tyres and different cars and different race lengths and all that, but it was interesting today, if you watch the F2, to see that the soft tyre, when a bunch of the midfield in that late safety car put the softs on, they didn't really have a huge amount more pace than those on the medium or the harder tyres. So as George Russell just casually goes purple in the first sector after we all said there was no chance for Mercedes today. So I was quite surprised by that, just as a side conversation there. But here comes George Russell. He knows I'm wearing the shirt, you see. That's all it is. He's doing it. Doing it so I don't jinx him. What can Antonelli do? He's personal best in the first sector, 30.0. It's a 29.9, by the way, for Russell in the first sector. That is 0.3 quicker than Lando Norris. I know it is only Q1. We've got 2 more sessions to go yet, but that's a really, really strong first sector. What does he do in the middle? Because that might give us an idea of what we're talking about downforce levels. Actually, not bad for Antonelli here, personal best, but he is actually down on a time to get out of Q1 at the moment, which is concerning. 0.3 up overall in the middle sector is Russell, but it's not purple. He's marginally a couple of hundredths slower than Lando Norris. So, yeah. Verstappen goes third, 0.3 off the 2 McLarens, a 10th off Piastri, 10.5 really off Piastri. I think Russell, Anthony goes only 11th. That's not safe at all. Did we catch the cutoff when it cropped up on screen? I wasn't watching that. Russell only goes 8th after all of that. The final sector, not bad, but not great. So, how was he only 8th? Stroll's out, by the way. 18th place, not improving enough. Alonso only 16th. Both Aston Martins out of qualifying. 42 flat is a projected knockout. So actually everybody from Gasly down is in trouble, and Hamilton isn't 100% safe on a 41.9. Neither's Bearman. So track time deleted for Lewis Hamilton. A 4:36.382. I think he'll be fine with that. Bortoleto goes 10th. Cracking lap from Bortoleto there. He's really been driving well lately, as has his teammate, of course. Hadjar goes 4th on the subject of driving well lately. There he goes up into 4th place. Esteban Ocon not improving. Bearman is improving on a set of new soft tyres and goes 5th fastest. There's some good pace in that Haas this weekend, or at least that Haas. Ocon not exactly flying. He is personal best in the middle sector. Hamilton down to 14th and not improving. Gasly's gone purple in the first sector. Lewis Hamilton can get his lap in, but he's got traffic. It's not a great first sector. He could do with Ocon not improving too much here. In fact, Gasly has lost a lot of time, and Ocon does improve. 43.9. It's not lost a lot of time at all, Gasly. He's still right in this. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong graphic. Lewis Hamilton in big trouble here. His middle sector... And wait to see what his middle sector is. 43.6. It is a personal best. It is quicker than Gasly. This is a bit of squeaky bum time for Mercedes here because Gasly goes through. Hamilton, as it stands, is out of qualifying, but he is improving in that middle sector. What can he do? He can't afford to spin in this corner like he did yesterday. He needs this big time. 41.908 to beat. And he does go through into 7th place and knocks Bortoleto out. That great time for Bortoleto. Not that great as he gets knocked out at the end of 16th. Colapinto is improving in 20th place. Can he knock out Esteban Ocon? He cannot. He qualifies 17th, which means we've lost Gabriel Bortoleto, Franco Colapinto, Kimi Antonelli, Fernando Alonso 19th, and Lance Stroll 20th. Wow. Doesn't get any worse than that for Aston, does it? Oh dear. Bortoleto, Colapinto, Antonelli, Alonso, and Stroll out. Antonelli. It's the shock of the session, given that we've got a Mercedes down there, but that is in keeping with where he was yesterday. But that was followed by a spin, or was preceded by a spin. So there we go. Hamilton there a little bit nervy at the end, but he was okay. Merck once again waiting too long, says Kaori. Not sure if that's on. Someone's lost a lap. Hamilton's lost his lap time. He's out. Hamilton is out of qualifying. Lap time deleted. Track limits at turn 4, 1:41.664. Lewis Hamilton is out. It is gone. It's happened in Sky's adverts. This is why you don't have adverts in qualifying. They could be covering that, but no. Never mind. We need to watch this. It's important because we don't pay enough for it. 141.939. Old man Sean's back. Yeah, he's out. He's out. 141.664. So we have lost. That's the shock of the session then. Lewis Hamilton. But again, that's in keeping with where he was yesterday. But that's because he had a spin. So yeah, that optimism. Reverse hammer time, says Kevin. Yes, he's gone. Done. Both Saubers into Q2, so a reprieve for Gabriel Bortoleto. That's one of Martin Brundle. It's a word that everyone uses, but it's one that we hear from Martin Brundle a lot. So there you go. Yeah. So to confirm, Norris fastest from Piastri, Verstappen, Hadjar and Bearman. Watch those two for the rest of this session. Leclerc 6th, Sainz 7th, Lawson 8th, Albon 9th, Russell 10th, Gasly 11th, Tsunoda 12th, 13th Hulkenberg, 14th Ocon, 15th Bortoleto. Lewis Hamilton did initially get through, but his lap time was deleted. He's now 16th and out. Colapinto is out. Antonelli is out. Alonso and Stroll are, brace yourself, out. There you go. Turn 4... Yeah, turn 4 is Radion, isn't it? So he's cut the inside of that corner too much. We saw a couple of drivers do that yesterday, including Oscar Piastri. So that's my prediction, is he's cut that inside at turn 4 at Radion. It's turn 4, lap 8. Yeah, not lap 8. I tell you what, though, track limits at Rivage would be would be interesting, wouldn't it? Yeah, it is turn 4, not turn 8. Both Saubers through, we've covered that one. Getting there, Lewis, P16, mate, it's a CPB. Harsh, indeed. Yeah, that's exactly what he's done, cut the corner on the inside. Look, do you know what? On every onboard, it looks so marginal. But there you go. It is gone, he is out. Just for the sake of reading it, because it is an investigation, Verstappen, Tsunoda, Gasly, Norris, Colapinto, Piastri, Antonelli, Sainz all investigated after session for failing to follow race director's notes, the maximum delta time. Nothing ever comes of it, really, so there you go. Game over. Has the picture paused for everybody on TV? Yeah, there we go. That's fine. I thought I already crashed again. I had this the other day when I was watching the last couple of episodes of The Boys, season 4. That's a show that's just gone from being weird to very weird. I hope season 5's just as weird. It's time for Lewis Hamilton to hang it up, says Frank. It's not working at Ferrari, but that car also isn't great. But then it's not P16, is it? Tom Kerridge, in the Williams garage, because there you go. Maybe he's cooking for the weekend. He's doing all their food. He's covering the catering. Yeah, Anthony Davis just showing. No, he says clearly all four wheels. He is over, but it's not clear as day, is it? It is still tight, but it is definitely over. But them's the rules and all that. I don't know what else to say. I'm trying to fill while we wait for the session to get going again, but I don't really know what to say other than he's out. Nothing we can do about it. But we saw it Piastri yesterday. Was Gasly the other one yesterday? I think might not be Gasly, but I think it might have been. There you go. Yeah, it definitely Radion. I don't know what you're on about there, but I'm going to stay out of that one. I have no idea. And I'll probably read something that I shouldn't read in the end. Ferrari is arguably the third fastest car overall. People need to stop blaming the car. Look, Louis, it's still a bad car, mate. It's not bad. Bad isn't fair. I'll give you that. It's not fair. It's not a bad car, but it's not a great car. And both drivers have their struggles with it. But that's just Lewis Hamilton pushing it over the line, isn't it? Quite literally. So that's it. He's sat in the car, so I guess he's waiting for a review. But yeah, let me have a look. F1 2025. Has that not opened? Well, that's annoying. It's supposed to open, but there you go. It didn't open. I need to redo my thingy. I've just been looking at F2 season. That's why I'm a bit confused about where I'm doing it now. So on the blah 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 blah. Charles Leclerc. That's what I was trying to do. So, Leclerc's results. Louis might have a point. 8th. DSQ obviously, but then 4th, 3rd, 7th, 6th, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 3rd, 14th at Silverstone. But then the last few races, Hamilton has been consistently top 6. So it's definitely not a bad car. I was wrong for saying bad car. I'll give you that, but I'm not going to sit here raving about that Ferrari and not making excuses. There's plenty of people at Sky and on Twitter in the cult that will make excuses for him. He went too close to the line, went over it, and track limits. Game over. I don't know what the problem was yesterday. I didn't read up on that actually with his spin, whether that was something wrong with the back of the car or whether it was just a mistake. But hey, it's irrelevant now. We're in the proper racing, so Hamilton is out of the car now. He's accepted that. It's over. So it was a 141.6, wasn't it? So he was up in about 7th place, wasn't he, behind Leclerc? So yeah. Bearman and Hadjar top 5 in Q1, not bad. Says Gingerfest. Could you imagine if they can do that at the end of this session as well, and in Q3? Bearman looks like he's got some pace today, so he's going to get knocked out in this session now I've said that. Hadjar as well, so don't forget that first lap that Bearman did was on Usofts, and he was still right up there in the top 5, so for a good while. I was impressed with that. Actually, to be fair, I think Bearman's one that could do with a good weekend. He's had some sloppy runs, hasn't he? And all that at Silverstone was just very, very silly on the pit entry. And he qualified so well to then end up being a massive penalty and costing himself the potential for a great result in a chaotic race. I don't want to say that he would have been, but there was the potential, as we saw with Hulkenberg, that if he got the calls right with strategy and kept it on track and not got that penalty, he might have been in the fight for a podium. But again, as I always say, if my grandmother had wheels, etc., etc. So it's time for a Haas win, says Kevin. Bad car by Ferrari expectations, says Gingerfest. Especially coming to this weekend, actually. They were very quietly optimistic. So, yeah. I did say in the preview, if I had £1 for every time Ferrari were quietly optimistic coming to a race weekend, I'd be on holiday right now, and there you go. I'm a fan of Hamilton, but it's not working at Ferrari, says Frank. He made some interesting comments, didn't he, Frank, this week, actually, about how Vettel and co, Alonso, great drivers, had chances at Ferrari and not winning championships, and he doesn't want to be the same. He wants to win a title with Ferrari, but he's not left himself a lot of years to do it. Really, he is in the twilight years of his career. They're really at the back end of his career. He's only got next year at Ferrari, I think, guaranteed, unless he's got an option for the following year. So that's what I'm talking about. They need to put focus on next year's car. Full focus now on next year. Forget this year. Even if you end up finishing 4th in the constructors, which is unlikely given there is only one Red Bull out there, really, then you've got extra wind tunnel time. And Ferrari don't need the cash. They'd like it, but they don't need it. So Same people out against this Nilesh. We lost Hamilton, Colapinto, Antonelli, Alonso, and Stroll. So Alonso and Stroll actually worse than yesterday. Have they gone for a big wing thinking about tomorrow's race? Maybe. High downforce. Maybe. Well, Andy Boy's just popped in the chat. There you go. Great minds and all that, mate. He says, why do I have a feeling both Alonso and Stroll are on heavy wet setup? It's not like they're allowed to race in the wet anymore. So, yeah. And Hansi says the problem is that unlike Vettel, Kimi and Alonso, Hamilton does not have age on his side. He is on the wrong side of his 40s, and that does not help. And could sandbag for wind tunnel time, says Kieran. Maybe. Let's get on with qualifying then. They are getting their laps in now. Ocon purple at the moment in the first sector. Thank you for your comments. Keep them coming. I'll read them in the gaps, and it fills a nice gap. We'll wait for the laps to start being set. Yeah. Oh dear, I don't know. I'm trying to control things today. I've been, again, people moaning at me I talk too quickly. I'm trying to control that, but I always talk quickly. It's part of me. I need to say it before I wander off on another tangent, so I get it out quickly, and then everyone goes, what did he even say? Yeah. Verstappen to the line. 1:40.951. We're going to be going quicker than that in this session, but it's a good start there on the new tyres. Ocon of 41.6, only 7/10 off Max Verstappen, which actually in this field is quite a gap. But Esteban Ocon's family in attendance this weekend. That's a driver who gets way too much shit, from people. I know I've said that a million times on this channel. And he will be my new Stoffel Van Dorn. I will defend him until the end. It's as simple as that. He's much better than some people think he is, but he's probably not as good as others think he is. So there you go. He's fine. Leave Esty alone. Over the line, Esty. Tsunoda's gone second, or now he's third now. Actually, only 3/10 off his teammate. So not bad from Tsunoda in the end on a 41.2. But that's going to start dropping because the McLarens are now in the mid-ish 140s. 140.6 for Piastri and 140.7 for Norris. So there we go. Has he got the new floor, Tsunoda? Is that what I just heard Martin Brundle say? Let me know, chat. I don't know if you're watching the Sky coverage and the Martin Brundle commentary, but I'm sure he just said that Yuki's got the new floor, which I missed on the updates thing. So that could be good for him if that is the case. Unless I may have misheard. He may have got a new dog or something. But yeah, he has apparently, according to FUD. So there we go. Interesting. Keep an eye on Yuki Tsunoda then. Maybe he will get a decent result. A bit more confidence in that car potentially. So that's good. But he struggles, doesn't he? I mean, who doesn't? Over the line goes Charles Leclerc into fourth and splits the two. Red Bulls a 10th off Verstappen, half a second, or 4.5 tenths, let's be generous, off the fastest time by Piastri. Hadjar goes 8th. Everybody on new tyres, apart from Carlos Sainz, who's on used tyres. Obviously, if they're not new, they're used, aren't they? Yeah. So he's got the new floor. Was that just for today? And then, or not just for today, but he got it today, and then he's got the new rear wing. But he hasn't got the... Yeah, not got the new rear wing. And I know he hasn't got the new front wing, has he? I might be wrong. I struggle to keep up on what the second Red Bull car has and hasn't got on it. Bearman with a massive snap at Poo on there. Back end out, very nearly. A big spin there. Well held. 1.5 seconds lost, apparently, but I wager it's more than that. All over the place. But he's back in the garage. Hasn't set a time as a result of that. So that'll be frustrating for him. He did 30.2 in the first sector, which actually was a 10th slower than Piastri, so not bad at all in there. Obviously, lap time's been deleted for that, but I mean, yeah. I don't think he's too worried about that one. Watching Gasly. 7 coffees in the morning helps with the fast talking, Sean, says Kevin. Yeah. Well, if there's one thing I don't need, it's caffeine. Yeah, no. CPB says I'd like to see Lewis stay until 27, so he can retire in his 20th anniversary season. Yeah. He might have an option for 27. I don't know, but it would be nice to see sort of that symmetry, I guess. But what I'm thinking is because CPB is just reminding me there of just how long ago 2007 was. So, welcome to the F1 word, where Sean continually gets surprised by the passage of time. Just happens every day. So how are we nearly in August? Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I've just finished washing up from Christmas and we're in August. It's ridiculous. Or nearly in August. Crazy. Anyway, I'm one of those people that even though Christmas is on the same day every year, it still surprises me when we get there. I can't believe it's Christmas next week. Of course it's Christmas next week, Sean. It's the 20th in December. It's the same day every year, 25th. You're 5 days out. Wake up. Honestly, I don't think there is much more I tried to read it before it left the screen. Sorry, I will go back to that. Charles Leclerc on team radio says, honestly, I don't think there is much more than this lap. It was a really good lap. Yeah, it looked good. Really good was a response from his engineer. So Charles Leclerc sounded really quite flat this weekend. And I wonder if all the hope around that new rear suspension and he's turned up and he's just bitterly disappointed and it's sort of, yeah. Neelish just completely forgot about Horner. He'll be back. But yeah, I don't know. I think this is, and they were sort of talking about this on Sky yesterday. This is the way teams are going now. They're looking more at, look at Andrea Stella, for example, at McLaren. They're looking more at engineers or people who have been in that side of the team, taking bigger roles and taking on team principal roles and joint roles. I mean, Zach Brown and Andrea Stella basically run that together, don't they? So that seems to be the future. But I think, I don't know. I don't want to say they might regret letting Horner go, but because McKees might be absolutely bloody magnificent and do a fantastic job, but it's still, I'm saying it again, I've said it for the last 12, 18 months, it really does feel like Red Bull are going through their Ferrari 2006. That's what it feels like. And yeah. We'll get into that. I promise we're going to talk about that after the quali. I know CPB wants me to talk about Verstappen and some stuff I've got from Thomas I want to read. So, yeah. Just seek out the infamous photo of him and you'll be glad you forgot about him. Oh, God, no. Oh, Fud. I was thinking what you were wondering. I was thinking, well, is there a nice photo on XPB I could go and find? But now I know what you mean. Oh, thank you. But as ever, thank you for watching. No, we're not. We will finish quali, but I think I want to go cry now. You put that. I haven't seen it. I don't want to see it. But thanks, Fud. Thanks, mate. You're welcome anytime. Anyway, so here we go for the final 3 minutes now of quali. We've got some unsafe releases going on here, but just sort yourselves out, lads. It's so unnecessary. Some people need bigger mirrors, says Oscar Piastri. A lot of people need bigger mirrors, apparently. So he's not very happy with this at all. To be fair, I mean, Sauber are becoming Audi next year, so they're never going to use their mirrors, are they? So there you go. Sticklebrick says Horner's going to buy into Alpine is my guess. That's my guess as well. He'll end up there. He'll take a stake in the team. Renault, with some of the things that have come out in the last sort of 7 to 10 days, finances and things, are going to need some investment. Renault aren't afraid to pull the plug completely on F1 if they need the money either. So the sister team's not for sale, but everything's got a price, hasn't it? So I'm not saying Horner's going to be able to afford the whole team. I think it was valued about I think they turned down 1.3, 1.2, 1.3 billion from Otmar Safnauer and his consortium. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Horner and Safnauer and a few others get together and Lawrence Stroll style consortium taking over. Yeah, I see that. Where else is there? Plus, I think Flavio Briatore would love to get Christian Horner on board, but I think that we're a good year away from that yet. I would imagine any gardening leave from Red Bull is going to be a good chunk, because don't forget new regulations. He's got a lot a lot of intellectual property in his brain, hasn't he? He knows a lot about that Red Bull powertrains and how that car's going to look next year. So they won't want him sharing that with anybody. So it'll be a while before he's back out there. But anyway, Gasly, first sector, a 10th and a half up on a time to get through into Q3. That is what we're waiting for here. Everyone going quite late with their laps here again, or it feels that way anyway. But Piastri, Norris at the moment, the top two. But the ones we're looking at, Hulkenberg, Bortoleto, Gasly, Sainz, and Bearman. It took a minute to work that one out. Bearman yet to set a time. Obviously, he got the wobble at Puon, didn't he? That's why. So, I'll come back to Horner in a second because I want to answer that from Kieran because it's a good question. So, yeah, Gasly improving in the first sector. Will he improve in the middle sector? You'd think so on a fresh set of tyres. So he won't. Now I've said that, but you'd think so. He does. Just a little bit. 1/10 up now on the time to get through. Hadjar improving. There's a cobweb under there. Better not be a spider. Hadjar is improving only half a second off Piastri, which would put him about 5th if he was to carry that on. Hulkenberg is up on Lawson, but not personal best in the middle sector. So that's who we're looking at. Lawson on the bubble, but Ocon won't be safe either. But Lawson is also improving. Hadjar's improving. Russell purple in the first sector. We'll keep an eye on Esteban Ocon as well. So Gasly will be first over the line. He goes 9th. That is not going to be enough, I wouldn't imagine, to get through because here comes Isack Hadjar. He goes 6th, actually. He's not actually in the bottom 5, so that's okay. He's just improved ahead of Russell. There goes Hulkenberg up to 11th. Lawson drops to 12th. Hulkenberg out. Bortoleto, cracking lap to go 7th place from the Sauber driver. Great stuff there again. Well done to him. He's got through Ocon purple in the first sector, so that has slippery. I wonder if they've gone opposite ways on the... What have we got opposite ways on the setup? Because Ocon 29.8 in the first sector. Bearman 30.4. Bearman maybe more downforce, Ocon a little bit less. Keep an eye on that through the rest of the lap. Here goes Russell, improves to 6th place. Gasly is on the bubble. It might be enough unless Lawson could do something. Here comes Carlos Sainz over the line. Doesn't improve, stays 14th, 141.7. Lawson does get through just behind his teammate into 8th place. Ocon's flying now. Albon may not be through here either. He improved in the first sector, Albon, but not in the middle. In fact, Ocon's absolutely on it here. 43.7 in the middle sector. Haas have got some pace. Bearman is improving in the middle sector, as I suspected he might. So I wonder if they have gone opposite ways, because Bearman is nearly a second quicker than his teammate in the middle sector. One to watch for tomorrow, methinks. Let's see what happens if one gets quicker in the wet and the other backs off and whatever. I know, that's for tomorrow. We'll get into it. Here goes Ocon into 11th place. Doesn't go through, but 11th isn't a bad starting spot. Bearman, only 12th. But yeah, interesting. I've got an eye on Haas there, but I think I'll be disappointed with that. 200ths of a second between Ocon and Albon. He lost his time in the final sector. Yeah, he did. In the end, wasn't a personal best. So still good from Haas, 11th and 12th. Not as good as it was yesterday, but yeah. There you go. So we've lost Ocon, Bearman, Gasly, Hulkenberg, and Carlos Sainz. Big surprise, SC Bortoleto through. Yuki Tsunoda up in 5th place as well, by the way. Very good. What did Bearman do in Sector 1? Oh, well. All my hope of Ollie Bearman having a different setup to Ocon and my theorising there was pointless because he lost his time at Turn 1 when he went sideways. So there you go. It was just an idea. Just an idea. Fuzz says, yes, they have said so pre-quali. So there you go. So I might have been right then. I might have been right. We'll see. Horner could rename the Enzo team as Ardens. I believe the Horners still have an interest in the outfit. And where's Kira? So Kira says, does he have to abide by gardening leave if they fired him? So this is something that, when you go back and watch my videos on it, I've been very deliberate in my wording. He's been sacked as Red Bull team principal. He hasn't been sacked from Red Bull. He's still got a role at Red Bull. He's still there. What's going on behind the scenes is conversations around terminating that contract. So rumours of a £50 million payout, that kind of thing. How long gardening leave might be. That's what's going on. It's just taking a bit of time. I think planetf1.com were expecting it before now. It still hasn't happened, but yeah, so that's what's going on with Horner. He is still at Red Bull, so they haven't fired him yet, but they're currently negotiating what happens going forward, and there will definitely be gardening leave. I mean, there has to be, surely. I don't know, Louis. I've not seen anything on that, mate, about him quitting last week. He's probably, well, Kevin says he's sweeping the floor. Like I say, he's doing the pot washing in the canteen. But yeah, he is still there as far as we know at this point. But I can have a quick Google while we're Google. Horner. I better write quit, hadn't I? Not anything else, just in case. Nothing from what I can... I can't see anything from anything overly reputable. But then I've not got the time on a stream, as I'm sure you can appreciate, to sit and read multiple articles. So I might be wrong, but I've not. I feel like we'd have had something out if he had. So yeah, but there's a real... Well, there's a real concerted effort from Red Bull to control the narrative around it. And that's not a criticism. That's completely understandable. Any team, any football team, any Formula One team, any business, of course you want to control that because you want to protect your image. So that's not a criticism and probably not a surprise to any one of you. But yeah, we'll see. Lap time deleted for who? Michael says lap time deleted. Who's lost? Well, I've not got anything on my timing screen, Michael. Oh, I hope you're not winding me up, Michael. Norris lap time deleted. He's out. Yeah. Kaori says Horner out. Yuki into Q3. Jokes, but it's a side. It's funny, sorry. I was reading two things, but it's funny. How dare you not describe that Madri advert? Oh, God. Don't. The adverts on Sky Sports during F1 are so bad. I mean, most adverts are terrible now. Also, of adverts, I was watching... What Crossman recommended on YouTube? The F1 World Grand Prix N64 instant replay. Let's do that again advert. Oh, I remember that like it was yesterday because I watched it yesterday. But in life, I remember it like it was yesterday. I bought that game and it makes me want to go and get my N64 out of the garage and fire that up. Bit of Mario 64 on a Saturday evening, followed by a bit of F1 World Grand Prix. Why not? Let's do that again. Anyway, no lap time deleted from what I can see. So I might be wrong, Michael. You may know. You may know. Bearman's not happy about something. Traffic, I think he says Tsunoda. Traffic in the final corner. Or somewhere. He's not happy. So I'm trying to listen to what's been said. So it looks like a car was slow. But he must have been on his start of his flying lap then, because he was clear at the end, wasn't he? Oh, broke the gentleman's agreement at the last corner. Oh, there's no such thing as a gentleman's agreement in F1. I don't know what these crowns are. What happens if I click on one? Oh my God, it's a top fans thing. Oh, Kevin, you're my top fan. You're number one. 150 XP. What on earth is all this? Hang on. Sorry, we'll get to quality in a second. I found something new. What is the leaderboard? A place for fans to stand out in the community. The top 3 get special badges in live chat. It resets every stream, so you can always try again. How do you get on the leaderboard? Who cares? You'll need to collect experience points or XP, and here's how you get them. Send live chat messages and send super chats and super stickers. There you go. Wow, Kevin, you're currently P1. P1 for Kevin. Who knew that was a thing? Maybe if I read my emails from YouTube, I'd have known that. But there you go. Thank you, top fans. So Kevin, Michael, and I'm going to click on it again now. I'm really intrigued. Kevin, Fudd, and Michael are the top 3. Pascal, you're not far behind, mate. Kaori, neither are you. I have no idea what all that means, but you know, and you'll all win a prize, and that prize will be... Thanks. You'll get a thumbs up and everything. There you go. We are ready for Q3. You learn every day's a school day. I'm such a good content creator. I have no idea what happens on YouTube. Here goes George Russell then to kick off Q3 at the Belgian Grand Prix. This is the one that matters, the one that decides pole. Is it just me that thinks this session has felt a bit weird? I don't know. Maybe because I haven't spoken to you all properly in 2 or 3 weeks. Maybe I'm just talking to you too much, not paying attention. But that is the beauty of a watch along. That's why we're here. We're watching along. But yeah, it's not felt like a normal session, but I guess sprint weekends, they never do they? Because you've only got so many sets of tyres and you've already had 2 big sessions and this for, whatever. But looking forward to tomorrow, definitely. So the real top fans press the YouTube like button without being asked, says Navi Pants. Navi Pants is right. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, Navi Pants, I am going to ask now. Please do drop a like. 174 of you here, 35 likes. Let's try and get that to 100. That is a big ask with 174 of you here. But if you could do it, you're all legends and you'll all be the top fans of the channel for the day. Unofficially, because YouTube has decided to rank that for some reason. But let's get that to 100. So please do drop a like if you haven't already. And do subscribe as well if you're new. We're gaining subscribers left, right and centre at the moment. It's very nice to see some growth on the channel. So thank you to everyone who's joined and everyone who's subscribed over the last few weeks. It's great to have you on board, but please do sub if you're new. Lots to come this season, including race Watchalong tomorrow, then the qualifying and race streams next week. We'll have preview on Thursday. Thomas will have a wrap up from the paddock on Monday. Sam will have some shorts out, probably another quiz at some point soon as well. And then we're going to have lots of stuff for the summer break content, filler content. So it's all your evergreen stuff and your listicles and your Sean gives an opinion on a driver and upsets everybody because he's wrong and everyone else is right. But yes. There you go. What I would say, just while we get these laps, while they get their laps, get ready around to start the laps, based on what they've said here, how do you gain experience points? Send live chat messages. Now, Kevin's in chat getting Larry saying that he's my number 1 and that I like him more than all of you. What that top fans thing basically means is who's the most gobby in chat. And it's Kevin. And anyone who's surprised by that is obviously new, so you'll quickly learn. Kevin's as gobby as me. I love it. As if we've just had most of a summer break already, says Neil. Exactly. It's so weird, isn't it? Big break. 2 races, big break again, bigger break even. So there you go. Here comes Verstappen down to turn 1. Used tyres for him. Used tyres as well for Tsunoda, Hadjar, Lawson, Bortoletto and Albon. So bear that in mind with whatever Verstappen does here. Sorry, Michael, you're not a gobby, mate. You're third on the list. You're acceptable. That's an acceptable level of gobbiness. We're okay with it. Lots of super chats. Lots of super chats. I can see what you're doing. I see what you're doing, Michael. It's very good. I tell you, if Charles Edward Cheese rocks up now for the first time in 18 months, you're all doomed. He's straight to number 1, isn't he, with a super chat like that? Do you remember those days? Good Lord. $500 every stream. Christ. If you are listening, Charles Edward Cheese, you don't need to send one, but thank you so much for your support over the years. That was absolutely insane. Every week it blew my mind. So thank you very much. Hope everything's okay. Not heard from him for a while, so I hope he's okay. But there you go. I thought I'd mention him. Why not? He deserves a shout out for the money he spent. So Max Verstappen, obviously everyone's going to be getting green sectors and purple sectors because they are the first to do lap times here. Max Verstappen on used tyres. Probably not going to be an epic lap, but I've been proven wrong before. Home Alone vibes, CPV. I love that. Les incompetent. Round the final couple of corners. I'm still calling it the bus stop. It is the bus stop, but it's not. I agree with Martin Brundle. It's not as good as the old bus stop, the proper bus stop. I still call this a new bus stop, even though it's been around since 2007, but whatever. It's not as good as the old one. Do you know what I miss about the old bus stop? The camera angle. Sounds stupid. That cut from coming round Blanchimont then to that other angle where they cut approaching the bus stop, that little kink, and then, oh, so good. But hey-ho. This works. It's just not as good. More clumsy, it feels. Maybe I'm wrong. Over the line goes Piastri on a 140.7. 0.3 quicker than Verstappen, who is on those used tyres. Norris purple in the middle sector. Over the line goes faster still, 140.5. It would just be so sod's law, wouldn't it, with Sean's predictions, if Piastri and Norris do the opposite of what I said they'd do. There you go. It's no longer a bus stop, just another chicane, says Nilesh. There you go. Bortoletto's lost his lap time, but it is on a used set, so he won't panic too much about that. Albon over the line goes 8th on a 142.269. Verstappen on the radio. Really weird, just didn't have the same grip. It's Simon Rennie on his radio this weekend, is it? That threw me. Expecting GP, forgot about Sticklebrick wants to see the original 12K layout. Imagine a sprint around that. How many laps would that be? Well, it'd be half, wouldn't it, roughly? Well, a bit more than half. So you'd be looking at next to nothing. It'd be pointless, wouldn't it? I am Canadian. We're forced to learn Frenchy language, says Kevin. I don't know a lot of French. Unless you include swear words, because, I mean, you say pardon my French, don't you? So, in that case, I know a lot of French and use too much of it. I've got a potty mouth, and I know I've got a potty mouth, and it's very hard not to use it on stream, but I appreciate that most of you are grown up enough to know that it's just language, and I don't know why people get so upset by swear words. Really winds me up. Toto Wolf said shit on Sky yesterday, and then they had to apologise for anyone that might be offended by that. I mean, come on. Children are watching, yeah, because they won't learn it in the playground. Anyway, so don't get me started on that. You should hear some of the things that my niece says when her mum's not listening. I do not encourage it. I heard you say that, somebody. I do not encourage it at all. So lap times on the board. I try to move myself back to the topic here. Norris, Piastri, Verstappen, Leclerc top 4. Then it's Russell, Tsunoda, Lawson and Albon, and then Hadjar and Bortoletto rounding out the top 10. 40.5 for Norris, 40.7 for Piastri, 41 flat for Verstappen, 41.3 by Leclerc. Leclerc 2.5 tenths off Max Verstappen on a new set of soft tyres. Verstappen on a used set, so that's not great looking for Ferrari, is it? Russell 5th, like I say, 2 tenths behind. Further back, Tsunoda 4 tenths, nearly 5 tenths further back. Lawson less than a tenth off Tsunoda. Albon 10.5 further back. Hadjar 3 tenths further back. Bortoletto, his lap doesn't count anyway, so we'll ignore that because he got it deleted for track limits at turn 10. Which is... They're going to show us now. That's... Oh, I'm guessing he's just going to run wide in Pouon. He is indeed. Up on the curb too far. There we go. You need to scan your face in order to watch Sky TV, says Fudd. I don't know if there's a joke in there that I'm missing, or whether you really do need to scan your face. I don't know. Did everyone go slower on that run? Looks like it's much slower. Some had used tyres, George, but it looks like others complained too. Like Verstappen said, it was low grip. Is the feedback to George Russell there when he asked for the answer? I imagine everybody now on the brand spanking new shiny set of soft tyres. It looks like it. I have no idea what you mean, CPB. Not a clue. Never been an issue in my life. Not even anything I've ever considered. Stop. Simple as that. I've seen some funny stuff today online about it. People making a few jokes about it and things you can do in this country and things you can't. It's very interesting. Where's the line? That's what I want to know. Sorry, I was gonna go for a drink before we got into these final laps, but it's not gonna happen now, is it? I'm just gonna have to muddle through. I would drink on camera, but the chances are I'll dribble it all the way down myself, so it's not worth it. I'll have a drink before we do the run through the order a little bit later, and pause for the timestamp as I always do. We've got 2 minutes and 45 seconds left in Q3 and qualifying, ready for the Grand Prix tomorrow. Very excited for the race. Always love Spa anyway, but a bit of rain, mixed up grid hopefully will be nice. I do feel like we need Verstappen between those McLarens to make it interesting if it doesn't rain tomorrow. Otherwise, I suspect it's just going to be those two disappearing. I can't help but feel that if Piastri got past Verstappen in the sprint today, he would have just absolutely vanished. But yeah, I might be wrong. That Red Bull's so slippery, it might be nice to keep in DRS and put the pressure back on, but I'm not sure. I think Piastri has a lot of pace. Well, the McLaren is the car to beat. We know that. We're not daft, are we? So. Do we want the McLarens taken out CPB? Really? CPB, I think, has just taken the lead from Kevin. I think he has. Ah, Kevin, keep up, mate. You've been overtaken. CPB has taken first spot. Michael, you're down to fourth. Fudder's beating you to third. This is more exciting than the qualifying session. It's ridiculous. Kevin's just typing like crazy now. Verstappen into turn one, then on these fresh set of soft tyres. Off he goes for another raw, big slide on that first corner. Unless I cut, I'm going to rewind that. I'm fair. I might be wrong. It might be somebody else's. Skid marks is the wrong word, but... I think Verstappen, tell me what you think. I think Verstappen had a massive slide on there. Coming out that final corner, on that first corner. I think that's going to cost him down here. I might be wrong. It has indeed. He's 2/10 down. Sky were not watching that. I'm sure Verstappen was sideways and lit it all up on the exit of turn one. So I think that's game over for Verstappen unless he has an incredible middle sector. This is Norris versus Piastri for pole. I might be wrong, but that's what it looked like to me there. So, the fuck? Charles Leclerc's just gone purple in the first sector. It's because I've been talking them down. Piastri does improve, but doesn't go purple. Is Charles Leclerc, Kaori? I'm nervous now for saying this. Is Charles Leclerc bringing himself into play? It is a personal best for Verstappen, but he's not going to be fighting for pole. That first corner, I'm adamant. I'm gonna say that. Norris purple in the middle sector, but slower than his best time so far, which is interesting. Nobody really lighting up the timing screens apart from Charles Leclerc. Verstappen doesn't improve, 140.9, so he stays third. That's his best hope. Charles Leclerc is not. Russell's just gone purple in the first sector. Hadjar goes fourth. This is going to be an interesting finish, potentially. Piastri and Norris separated by nothing on track at the moment. Over the line goes Norris, 140.5. But Piastri, slower in the middle sector, but only just slower. Here comes Leclerc, goes third. Great lap from Leclerc to take third place. Russell is absolutely flying out there at the moment. 43.6 is only slightly down. Oh, he's massively down. Forget that. He's a second down in the middle sector nearly. Here goes Piastri. Doesn't improve. 8/100ths between Norris and Piastri. It's Norris on pole. I don't think Russell's going to be able to do it here. But he gets himself into P5 ahead of Hadjar. And that is your pole decided. It is Lando Norris on pole position from Oscar Piastri. I said they'd do the opposite of what I predicted, and that's exactly what they've done. Thanks, lads. Tsunoda drops to 8th as Lawson moves into 7th, but Tsunoda is improving. What can he do coming out the final corner? Go on, Yuki. Give us something to cheer about. 6th place for Yuki Tsunoda. Hops ahead of Hadjar and Lawson, and only 200ths, a quarter of a tenth behind Max Verstappen briefly there, but Alex Albon's just put himself into 5th place out of somewhere. What a lap that is from Alex Albon. Here we go, on board with Max in this first corner. I'm telling you. Yep, all lit up and crossed up on the exit of turn one. I called that live. Oh, see, I do know what I'm talking about occasionally. Very occasionally. But it is Lando Norris on pole position for the Belgian Grand Prix. I'll run through the order properly shortly. Piastri is 2nd, Leclerc 3rd, Verstappen 4th, Albon in a great 5th spot, 6th for Russell, 7th for Tsunoda, 8th for Hadjar, 9th for Lawson, and 10th for Bortoletto. We already know Ocon 11th, Bearman 12th, Gasly 13th, Hulkenberg 14th, Sainz in 15th, Hamilton 16th, knocked out in Q1, 17th for Colapinto, 18th for Antonelli, also knocked out in Q1 again, Alonso 19th and Stroll 20th. Well, SQ1 and Q1 are different things, but the same thing, you know what I mean? But that is your grid as it stands. There might be penalties and all sorts going on in there, so I'll let you know tomorrow when we get going. But yeah, that is how it stands. It is pole for Norris. I will say, usually quite a few of you tend to disappear when we finish the qualifying session and don't stick around for the post-quali chat. That's fine. Thank you very much for joining me for the session if you are going, but please do drop a like before you go. It would be great to get that over 100. It's a big ask because numbers aren't huge today, but we're at 51 at the moment, so if we can get a few more likes, that'd be massively appreciated. And subscribe if you're new. Lots to come this weekend and this season as well, so likes and subs always appreciated. But if you are sticking around, we're going to talk about Max Verstappen and Red Bull, and we'll talk about what happened in the session, and of course we'll run through the order properly in just a moment as well. But yeah, there you go. Kaori's now number 1. Yeah, who's on pole at the minute? Kaori on pole at the moment. It's all very tight in there. You've got 150 XP across the top 4. Kaori, CPB, Kevin and Fudd. Who's it going to be? Who's going to get the only pole that matters? I feel like you in chat care more than I do, but there you go. Farsi Golf Ball says Lando. Really surprising Williams wasn't looking fast in this aero efficiency focused track. They finally showed up, says Neelish. Yeah, great lap from Albon. I'd love to watch that on board later. In fact, I might do if it ends up online. But yeah, 41.2. 3/10 off Verstappen. 600's clear Russell. I think that's a really great lap from Albon. And I like you say, that's kind of come out of nowhere, hasn't it, Neelish? So there you go. There you go. The start is going to be good tomorrow. Norris versus Piastri. Actually, you might argue in that. I don't know. You are the Piastri expert as the head of the Piastri fan club in the chat. I think you've got to be quite happy with P2, haven't you? Given the run to turn 5 tomorrow. What happened this morning with Max Verstappen. Also, if it is wet tomorrow, look at how good Piastri was until he got his penalty as well. That was pretty impressive, wasn't it? He had was he 14 seconds clear at one point? I think. In Silverstone. So if he can do that tomorrow, great stuff. But yes. Boom, says Kaori. And number 1, not the chat team orders. Yeah, we don't do team orders in chat. No more of that. SLH 2008 Interlagos settings. Lando's going to be passed by Oscar and Max first lap, says Kevin. And Pascal says, I'm happy with P10 and P14 for Sauber. Race pace is usually better, so we can race from there. I think you can have a good race tomorrow, Sauber. Hopefully some points. Kira with the late surge there. I'm just going to disappear and go silent for 20 seconds. We'll have a quick drink. Then I'll run through the order, and then we'll take some questions. Maybe make some predictions for tomorrow, talk about this Verstappen stuff, and then we'll go from there. So back in 20 seconds, you can count them. I don't know if that was 20. It might have been less, but anyway. Right, so here we go. Lando Norris is on pole position for the 2025 Belgian Grand Prix, finishing the session 800ths, clear of teammate Oscar Piastri. Really interesting run to turn 1 tomorrow. Piastri might be able to do what Verstappen did to him in the sprint and breeze past on that run to turn 5. Let's wait to see. Good stuff on the battle there. Charles Leclerc. Given how downbeat he's been this weekend, he'll be very happy with 3rd. Only 3 thousandths clear of Verstappen, so there is an argument that had Verstappen not gone all lit up and crossed up into that first corner on the exit of the first corner, maybe he would have been 3rd today. Could have fought for maybe P2, but McLaren's looked comfortable in the end. But 4th place for Verstappen. Alex Albon, possibly driver of the day there in 5th place. Great performance and came out of nowhere. Williams have not really had a huge amount of pace this weekend, but that's a great lap anyway for P5. Big points on offer. They could do some big points. Williams been a rough old run for them lately. George Russell, a couple of times looked like he might be in the mix with some purple sectors in there, but actually ended the session with the purple first and final sector, but only 6th in the end. Yuki Tsunoda, I think, can be very happy with 7th place. It's not challenging the front of the grid, and he's not that close to his teammate, but closer than he has been in recent weeks, so there is that for him. So a positive for Yuki, maybe that new floor making the difference. Isack Hadjar in 8th, 9th for Liam Lawson, and 10th for Gabriel Bortoleto. Great performances there from them as well. Bortoleto again out qualifying, is far more experienced and now podium winning teammate Nico Hulkenberg. Took you long enough, Nico. 11th place for Ocon, 12th for Bearman. Bearman not happy over team radio with some gentlemen's agreements that were ignored at the final corner with Yuki Tsunoda, I believe, but stewards won't look at that, so 12th place for him. 13th for Gasly, 14th for Nico Hulkenberg, 15th for Carlos Sainz. Lewis Hamilton did initially get through in Q1, however his lap time was deleted for track limits at turn 4. That's Radion cut the inside line, or cut the inside of the corner, as we saw with Piastri on Friday, so he got his lap time deleted. He got knocked out in Q1. Colapinto out in Q1. Antonelli again out in Q1 as he was in SQ1, and then Alonso and Stroll 19th and 20th. But chat theorising that maybe, just maybe, they've gone with a big wet weather setup for tomorrow, given that rain at some point is likely. So could be interesting to see what Aston Martin could do from 19th and 20th on the grid tomorrow. So get your questions in, and we'll do some predictions as well shortly. I will start with what CPB asked me well over an hour ago. So the latest on the Verstappen situation. So I'm not going to try to read the whole article, but Thomas did an article 6 a.m. this morning. It went out, actually, according to the planner. So just bear that in mind. So things may have developed since, but this is how things stand at the moment. It's not going to come as a big surprise given what Toto Wolff said yesterday, but it appears as though Max Verstappen's future with Red Bull looks secure, and we have some clarity regarding some key cockpits, and it's understood to be imminent that we're going to get an announcement on the Russell and Antonelli staying where they are. So that's for 2026. So I'll read you what he says in his article. He says, Verstappen's future with Red Bull has been the subject of intense speculation, as we know. This performance level could have played a major part in the dismiss of Christian Horner. That's one of the theories there as well. But on Verstappen specifically, he has been evading the question. Thomas is right on that one. He's never been quite committal, but at the start of this weekend, he's been a lot more sort of, I want to stay where I am and whatever. Talk of exit clauses as well. His intention was always sorry, I'm reading the wrong thing. I apologise. Let me get to the point I want to read to you. So it is expected that Russell will be staying with Mercedes and that Antonelli will also stay with Mercedes for next year, and that the reason that it's taken a little while to get to this point is that the finer details in Russell's contract have been sort of dragging this whole out. So it's not that they want to go in separate directions. It is that they are disagreeing on certain parts of the contract. So finer details, particularly around things like how much sponsorship work he needs to do. So I'll try and I'm gonna say this. I don't know if I should say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway because I've come this far, so I may as well go for it. But from what Thomas was saying yesterday in the group chat, it sounds like the Russell wants to still have to do his sponsor stuff, but less of it, maybe more towards the sort of level that Lewis Hamilton did, but he hasn't got the pull that Lewis Hamilton had to be able to demand that. So there's been a bit of not a standoff is the wrong phrase, but there's been a bit of negotiation around that. So that's been a big sticky point. It's not necessarily money or anything like that. I'm sure it's, of course, money's a factor. It absolutely is. So that is what sort of dragged on this whole contract situation with Russell, which is why all of this around Max Verstappen has come out. In fact, actually, I would argue when you look at a lot of what's been said, it's been Russell that's been putting it out there that Mercedes are talking to Verstappen, and why wouldn't you talk to Verstappen? So is he in that situation as a theory trying to put some pressure on Mercedes, or are Mercedes coming back and say, well, actually, we've got Max Verstappen as a possibility, so do you want to sign or not? So it's all a little bit around contract negotiation. That's why it's taken so long. But Max Verstappen is going to stay where he is for next year. The big question mark seems to be around 2027 and what happens there. Now, it makes a lot of sense for Max Verstappen to stay where he is for 26 because who knows? Imagine he leaves Red Bull at the end of this year, goes to Mercedes, and all the talk of Mercedes being the team to beat is a load of nonsense, and Red Bull end up being the team to beat. He looks an idiot. He may as well stay where he is, see where things fall next year, and then maybe move to Mercedes for 27. There is a theory out there from I think it's AMUS reported this, and I don't know what you think, chat, but I find AMUS a little bit hit and miss. They did say that George Russell was likely to sign a contract before Silverstone. It would be announced at Silverstone, and it wasn't. But they're saying that the talk is that Max Verstappen will be at Mercedes for next year, but Red Bull will allow him to leave at the end of 27 for 27 at the end of 26 if the car isn't good enough. I don't know if that's true, but that is what AMUS are saying, and that's sort of where we're at the moment. 26, Verstappen stays at Red Bull. 27 onwards, we don't know. It's all going to come down to the performance in that car. So maybe we end up with a situation where Russell or Antonelli end up on a one-year deal, and that leaves the door open for Verstappen if they want to keep him there. But it's been a bizarre few weeks with the stuff that's been shared online, mocked up photos and all of that business, and yeah, very, very strange. But yeah, that's kind of the long story short is Max Verstappen is staying where he is for next year. Russell and Antonelli will be announced, I think, just let me check it in here, it might not be possibly as early as Budapest, but the fact that Toto Wolff said I am confident my drivers will go into the summer break and sleep well, words to that effect, says that it's going to come before the summer break. So this is all going to get sorted. Let's see what happens. But Max is going nowhere for now. I'm not surprised. I've had the conversation with you all several times about what could happen. Will he stay? Will he go? I've always said that my feeling was that he would stay. I said to you 3 weeks ago, I was 99.9% sure he will stay. I don't know why he'd take the gamble on 26. I get it. Sometimes you get sucked into the rumours in the paddock that actually Mercedes are going to have this rocket ship car like they did in 2014, but they might not. And I'm going to say it, and I don't think it's a controversial statement. Even if Red Bull rock up next year with the second or third best car, Max Verstappen can still compete for wins. So he's done it throughout his Red Bull career. They've had the second, third, fourth best car at times. He's still competing for wins. So there you go. I think he can afford to spend a year at Red Bull. Don't forget as well, he is only like 27 still, isn't he? So it's not like he's got to rush around to make a decision. But I wouldn't be surprised if he leaves at the end of next year, though, if it all goes to pot. But yeah, that's the latest CPB that I was going to tell you. I got a bit mixed up in the middle there because I was reading I've got two articles open. I was reading, putting the two together to make the point, but actually I was reading the wrong bit. So apologies if I got a bit confused in the middle. But long story short, Max stays, George and Kimi stay, but keep an eye on this for next year in 2027. It's not, and this isn't, and I will say this, I saw it on, I think it was in response to either a PF1 tweet or a Thomas tweet, somebody saying that, so it was all made up by the media. All of this around Max Verstappen potentially going to Mercedes was not made up by the media. This was paddock talk. This is stuff that Mercedes and Russell and Verstappen and co are all putting out there. We are talking, in conversation we had. This hasn't been made up just for clicks. This is a genuinely could have happened, but it hasn't at this stage. So, yeah, I mean, if he leaves at any point, it will be to Mercedes, I would imagine. But who knows? Who knows? Next season, Honda might build the most unbelievable new power unit, and Adrian Newey might design the greatest car we've ever seen, and suddenly Max Verstappen goes, actually, I might go to Aston Martin for 27. The point is, it makes sense to stay where he is. What's the phrase? Look at what the lay of the land is, or the lie of the land, whichever, and then make a decision for 27. He's still got time, but yeah, he's staying where he is. That's it. And I'm glad as well, CPB, that Russell's staying where he is. I think Russell's earned a contract extension. And I think, actually, there was a rumour, and it was nothing massively reputable, but there was a rumour last week or the week before that Antonelli will go on loan to Alpine because Flavio Briatore quite liked him. And with the Mercedes power unit there might be a deal to be done as well to loan him and save some money on the power unit. You know what Renault are like. They like to save some money with their workers team. They're not building an engine for the bloody thing anymore. And that Russell would stay alongside Verstappen, but I didn't really buy that. It was possible, but I didn't really buy it. But yeah, I mean, are you surprised? Tell me in chat, are you surprised that Verstappen's staying? Did you believe that the move to Mercedes was probable or was definitely going to happen? Or like me, have you felt the longer it's gone on, the more unlikely it was? I mean, I don't know what the Christian Horner thing was about. Again, a lot of talk around potentially Christian Horner didn't want to give up Verstappen at the end of 26 if the car wasn't good enough, and Austria did, and so the Austrian side did, and so that's why they parted ways. There's talk about it being performance. There's talk about power plays by Red Bull. All I'll say is I look forward to Christian Horner's his new book in a few years' time when he tells us all what happened. That could be interesting, but we're never going to know for sure. Only rumours and speculation. What if Mercedes pushed the Max talk to create tension to Red Bull and get Horner fired? They floated that idea on Sky yesterday, which surprised me, didn't they? I think Martin Brundle did, but no, I don't believe that. I think I'm sorry to bring it to football. I'm so sorry to bring it to football. But in football, if you're trying to get a player to sign for you and negotiations have stalled, all you have to do is put a rumour out and throw Manchester United's name into the mix, and suddenly that deal gets done very quickly because you threw United. If your player wants a new contract, suddenly Sergio Ramos is talking to Manchester United. No, he isn't. You just want a new contract. It feels a little bit like that. on both sides. Throw Verstappen's name out there. Russell gets the contract he wants, or Mercedes get Russell on the contract they want him on, or whatever. And it feels a little bit like that. Not quite to that extent, and I'm probably way off, and it's just me speculating off the top of my head on a live stream. But I do wonder if there's a little bit of contract negotiation play going on in that one, you know. Mercedes saying, well, all right, George, you want this and we don't want to give you that, but hey, we'll go get Max Verstappen then. Oh, actually, no, it's fine, I'll sign. I don't know. I don't know what you guys are talking about, so not getting to that one. Let's see what you're saying in chat. Where are we? Russell negotiating down his T-posing duties. Oh. I don't think Stuart got mad at me with it, but I made a joke in you know, he did his T-pose in the new titles for this year, and I was like, oh, look at him doing his bloody T-pose. Who does he think he is? And I was only joking, and Stuart was like, oh, well, you do realise he would have been told to do that by somebody at F1. And I was like, well, yeah, but you know, mainly it was a joke, but also fair enough. But then he gets out the car when he wins and he does the T-pose. You're like, well, nobody's told him to do that. He's just being a knobhead. But I kind of love that that's his thing. In a nice way. In a bantery way. I don't mean in a bad way. Some people take things quite too literally, but it just makes me laugh when he does it. And it's like, oh, yeah, who asked him to do that one then? Nilis just dropped to P22 and failed to qualify in 2025. I'm guessing we're still talking about the top fans. I'll go into that in a moment. I don't know what you mean by that, Kevin, around Jos Verstappen. I might have missed something. Kaori doesn't like Jos Verstappen. I still think Max is going to Aston, says CPB. Michael says AMUS are pro-German, don't forget. Michael Telfer, I should say. We've got two Michaels in chat. Yeah. I find it a bit hit and miss. Sometimes they say something and then 2 days later it's confirmed, then another time they say something and it goes completely the other way. But I guess actually if you go you've been around as long as AMUS have, or planetf1.com or Autosport or whatever, you go back long enough and you're going to find things like, you know, like last summer, the information we had was that Sergio Perez was gone after the summer break. That came to us directly from sources. But then it turned out it wasn't, and that changed, and people got mad about it and said it was just clickbait and made up. It's like, it wasn't. It's just at that time that was what we were told, and then the situation changed again. So these things in F1 are so fluid. I said it in the Max Verstappen was it a massive speculation video that I did the other week? I can't remember what it was now. No, it wasn't. It was the when Champions League F1 teams list that I did, and I said in that you know, the situation around these things are so fluid, they change all the time. It's very difficult to predict. So Total's bought this was sleeping pill, says John. I mean, I'm having a look, so I'm not going to get into that conversation. It's not worth the hassle. T-Pose looks foolish, but it's less disgusting than a shoey. It's definitely more hygienic, isn't it? Definitely. He did say that he kind of chose the T-Pose in the intro. He said he was trying random stuff, though. Fair enough. Kaori says, don't worry, we're making noise about Jos. That's okay. Could Mercedes drop Antonelli if he has a similar season next year to this, and it costs Max Verstappen, Mercedes the Constructors' title to McLaren, for example. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not going. I say this every year, and people don't agree with me, and that's fine. But I don't, you know, Antonelli, Bearman, Bortoletto, Hadjar. I'm not going to be, going too heavily on them this year. I think rookie year, you're allowed to make mistakes, you're allowed to have bad runs, you're allowed to have bad weekends. It's how you recover from that, and Antonelli needs to recover from this. He's really in a bit of a rut, isn't he? But next year, if they've got the best car and he's still qualifying 18th, that's not good enough, and we know that, don't we? We're not daft, we know it. So we'll see next year, but hopefully he can step up. A year of experience around F1, it's going to do in the world a good deal. He should, in theory, be better next year. I still think he's got a lot of potential. I'll say it again. I still think it was a year too soon, but they were kind of painted into a corner, weren't they? So there you go. Annette's off to bed. Take care, Annette. Have a good one. Have a good sleep, and hopefully catch you tomorrow, where Oscar Piastri was going to win. He will win. He will get me a point on my predictions. Somebody will. Somebody has to. Good Lord. Yeah, first T-pose was good. Yeah, and then he just... Same with everything, isn't it? It's like the... And I remember telling Jess McFadden, as she was then, she's now Medland or McMedland, as I call her. I told her when I was on the phone with her, I told her that I hated her and WTF1 for that whole that's Radion actually thing. That was one of those things that was funny for the first weekend and then just started to do your head in every bloody year. But thankfully that's died. But I do hate, I'll never forgive them for that, ever. Terrible. Why is it that someone has a bad periods and suddenly they're washed, says farting golf balls? I know you haven't suggested this, farting golf balls, but just to be clear, I would never say that after a bad couple of races. I don't think anyone's saying, if we're talking about Antonelli, I don't think anyone's saying he's washed. I also hate that phrase because, you know, I'm old. But he's having a bad patch. He'll bounce back from it. Or he needs to bounce back from it. And if he can bounce back from it, it'll be fine. But not the best is my point on Antonelli. But yeah. So I was going to make a really good point. I promise you. I promise I was going to make a good point in golf balls. It's just gone completely out of my head. So I can't remember what it was. So I love cheese. There you go. That's the point I'm making. It'll come back to me midway through the next thing that I'm saying. But yes, please. Any more questions? And we'll do some predictions in a minute. Only 99 of you here now, so won't be here too much longer, I wouldn't imagine. Once it drops into double digits, it's probably time to start letting people go and enjoy the rest of their afternoon and evening. I don't think there will be big moves on the driver front for 26. There's Pascal. Most drivers will wait and see what's happening in 26. Nico and Gabriel are staying put. I am happy about that. Yeah, the driver market for next year. Yeah, I completely agree with you, Pascal. It is about waiting to see what the lay of the land is for next year. So I think really where we're looking, honestly, is Tsunoda. What happens in that second Red Bull? It sounds as though Lawson is going to be in the car next year, but will it be Hadjar alongside him, or will it be Lindblad? And will Hadjar move up to Red Bull? I sort of hope they let Tsunoda try the new car, because it might be that suits him better. Because that car will still obviously lean towards Verstappen, but it won't be as geared towards Verstappen because it's a brand new everything, isn't it? So that might bring Tsunoda back into play. So I'd maybe give him the first half of next year and see how he does, and keep Hadjar where he is and keep Lindblad in F2, because I think we don't need to rush people through. But I suspect it might. That's where we're looking, really, that Red Bull area. And really, I think the second Alpine seat, and then it's what happens at Cadillac, isn't it? So it's not going to be as dull as it was a couple of years ago where nobody did anything, but it's probably going to be less interesting than, say, last year. But then Lewis Hamilton moved to Ferrari was announced. So do you get much bigger than that, really? Yeah. Thoughts on the rumours of Mick Schumacher going to Cadillac, says CPB? I'm not convinced. There is some talk of, I think Alex Dunn's been brought into the conversation now with Cadillac. Jack Doohan's been asking around. That doesn't mean anything. And Elizabeth did a video the other day, didn't she, on it? So I'm not going to go through everything that she said in there. But I think, again, if I'm picking Bottas and Perez, not because I just want older drivers, but I think that when you're building a brand new team from the ground up, having as much experience as possible for your first couple of seasons is the right thing to do. And then you can look at bringing you through once you've got yourself settled. But I appreciate that Perez and Bottas might not be a very exciting lineup for some people. They might want to Mick Schumacher, but I'm not convinced on Mick Schumacher. He feels a bit like, and I can't remember who the last one was, a bit Pascal Wehrlein in that every time a seat opens up, his name is going to be in there. And I feel that's how I feel Mick Schumacher. I'd like to see him given another shot, but I'm not convinced it's going to happen. I think it's more likely to be Perez and Bottas, and, you know, I just feel like he's always linked to seats. It would be cool. It would be nice. Obviously, Michael Schumacher is my hero. I think he is the greatest, end of. Everyone will disagree, but that's fine. But it'd be great to see his son get another crack at it, but I just think it just feels like that name's thrown in there by either his management or sponsors or just pundits throw it out there because he's been in F1 before. I'm just not sold on it, but it would be nice. I'd go Bottas and Perez though. I just was. Do they, Nilesh? Nilesh says, interesting you say that, because didn't Wehrlein and Mick have the same management? I'm not sure. It might be. And Kaori says, Sean, with McKees at the helm, they probably won't be so Max-sided with the car. Let's hope. Good point. Very good point. And I think he really likes Tsunoda. I've got Sean Connery. He really does like Tsunoda, doesn't he? Does McKees. So he might get a chance there. I just don't want to judge anybody on that second car. It's difficult. I said this last year. I still think it was worth moving somebody else in and try and see if maybe a Tsunoda, or well, it was Lawson first, wasn't it? But Lawson, Tsunoda, whoever, could do a better job than Perez. I think it was worth the gamble. But when you look at the last however many years you want to include, I mean, the best second driver at Red Bull since Ricciardo left was Sergio Perez. He had the car, absolutely, and I'd argue he should have done. You'd have expected more from him in that car, given how dominant it was. But we now know how bad that second car is. We knew it was bad, but we didn't know it was as bad as it ended up being. So Perez was probably making it look better than it actually was in the end. But yeah, I still think it was the right decision at the time. With hindsight, you could argue maybe not, because all right, fine. If Perez is qualifying 18th place for argument's sake every other weekend, at least you're getting a hell of a lot of money for it. But at the time, it was the right call. We can all look at a situation with hindsight and say, actually, they should have stuck with Perez, but at the time, it felt like the right thing to do, and I stand by that. But good job I didn't. Good job I didn't make the team decisions, because clearly I'd be crap at it. But there you go. What if Lawson to caddy, says Nilesh? Unlikely. Do you think Alpine will still be called Alpine next year as CPB? I think they'll have to, won't they? You can't be Renault, Mercedes. Yeah, I think it'll still be Alpine. I mean, there is some talk about new management coming in and wanting to bring in the Renault name, but you'd have to build a Renault engine, surely, at which point that's the end of that. But it'll still be Alpine, Mercedes, and then there'll be something else, and then Renault will pull the plug completely and then come back in 5 years, and we never really left. They do it all the time. If I feel like if Marco is still in charge, it's going to be Hadjar and Lindblad at RB next year. If Marco's making the decisions, that'll be Verstappen and Hadjar at Red Bull next year, and then Lindblad and Lawson at Racing Bulls. If McKees can fight that, which I doubt, I'd like to think he gives Tsunoda a shot, because he does seem to like Tsunoda. So, yeah. Any more questions? Should we do some predictions then? They don't learn, do they? Sorry, just on a random point. They don't learn with their drivers. Oh, we rushed through this driver, didn't work. Rushed through this driver, didn't work. Rushed through this driver, didn't work. Should we rush through the next one? Yeah, what's the worst that could happen? Anyway, let's get your predictions in then, and then we'll wrap up for today. Top three on the grid. There you go. Who are your top three for tomorrow's Belgian Grand Prix? That rhymes. No, YouTube. I don't want to put a mid-roll in. People are listening to my wonderful voice. All I'll say is CPB and Kevin and Fudd as well, and Pascal's in there now, and X gone, so won't be able to. That's the battle for the win today of Top Fan. You might want to do your predictions separately, so your top three in separate chats. That's all I'm saying. Rig the system, damn it. Not individual letters, because I won't read it. But yeah. My top three for tomorrow, whilst you guys get yours in, I am going to go with Piastri for the win, because I said it on Thursday, and he'll have that slipstream. Norris P2. And Verstappen P3 if it's dry. If it's wet, Piastri for the win. Verstappen P2. Oh. Let's have a bold one. Like a boldish one. It's not that bold because he's third on the grid, but I'm not rating Ferrari much this weekend. Leclerc P3. Norris ends up being like P5 or something. I don't know why. Badly timed safety car or a spin in the wet or something like that. I don't know. They're my two predictions, but Piastri, Norris, Verstappen, top three, probably. Actually, while you're doing that, very, very quickly, let me just check the weather for tomorrow. I've got to get you two forecasts. So the weather for tomorrow, according to Le Google, is 40% chance of rain for lights out. And according to the FIA's official weather thing, which you have to log into and then refresh and then say that you don't want to keep it updated because it takes a month to do anything, and then it crashes on you anyway, welcome to the FIA. It's wonderful. Their official weather for tomorrow is... Why is it not loading? It's not loading for me now, so I can't tell you what the official weather is. That's annoying. That is very, very annoying. I'll try and get it to work again. It's not working. No, there you go. So, well, about a 40% chance is what the Google forecast is saying. So I can't tell you on the FIA one because it's not working. So apologies for some reason for me. It usually does, but it hasn't today. Let's say 300% chance of rain according to the FIA. If someone's just tuned into that, I'll think I'm crazy. I am crazy, but it's not working. So there we go. That's that. Let's do your predictions then. I didn't literally mean do it, but you are doing it. Where are you? Norris, Piastri and Russell for Michael. Russell would be good. That'd be good to see on the podium, wouldn't it? Definitely. P10 for Bearman, says CPB. Is that something that's happened since? Oh, P9 Ocon. Oh, I see what CPB's doing. Nice try. Nice try. Yeah, I'm not going to read all of them. I'm going to let you have it. I'll get to your top three in a minute. CPB, I like it. Kaori's gone with Oscar Piastri P1, Charles P2 and Lando P3. Pascal says Piastri, Norris, Verstappen and some points for Sauber. Bortoletto's 10th. It's possible. It is possible. I will get to the top three in a minute for CPB. I promise you that one. Oscar for the win says, I've read that one already, so we'll stop there straight away. It's confused with this as. Third place for CPB have gone with George. Oscar P2, Lando P1. Double Red Bull DNF as well. There you go. CPB's really going for this. Ministry of Enigmatic Affairs. That took a second. Piastri first, Norris second, and Hulkenberg P7. Some good points. Hulkenberg will be good, wouldn't it? Definitely. J Webb says Russell, Stroll, and Hadjar. Who did I say? Piastri, Norris, and Verstappen. Didn't I? As the top three. It's not very exciting, I know, but there you go. CP says, hold on, we'll laugh at the Netflix producers. But yeah. Anybody expecting a surprise if it rains tomorrow? We got the Hulkenberg podium, didn't we? Last week. But is anyone expecting a surprise? And if so, what? And then we'll wrap up. If we get a surprise tomorrow, and it's a bit chaotic in the rain, who's to say Albon from P5 wouldn't find himself in the top three? Would that be the first Williams podium at Spa since that epic race in 2021, where George Russell finished second? Whew, what a race. Who remembers the 2021 race? Wow. I remember doing the race reaction for that. Oh, God. We somehow got 2 hours out of it. I don't know how we condensed it to 2 hours. So much happened. Farty Golfball says, what's up with Aston? Well, we've theorised that maybe they've gone with a wet setup because they were much better in sprint quali, weren't they? So we wonder if they've put a bit of extra wing on and gone with a wet setup. With, you know, their radar might be saying 100% chance of heavy rain. And so they've thought wet setup. Not that we ever run in the wet, but, you know, it's worth a go. Wherever others may have hedged their bets. Maybe. So some of the bold predictions then, or the if we get some chaos, here's what happens. Windstorm says Verstappen P6 if it rains. Michael says more posts don't work. I've been up on 125 for up to 30 minutes now. I don't know how it works then. It definitely says how do you get more experience with points. So I think it's still in beta, to be fair. So we'll let it shake itself out, and then we'll go into that in a second. Russell Pony will be cool, says Ministry of Enigmatic Affairs. Agree. It'd be good to see up there again. We get the T-pose as well, don't we? Stroll top 6 if it rains, says J Webb. I tell you, if he gets top 6 tomorrow from 20th on the grid, whatever the conditions, that'll be a mega drive, won't it? Unless, of course, only 6 cars finish, in which case maybe not. But yeah. They are looking down on pace, so why not gamble on setup for them, I guess. Exactly, yeah, you may as well give it a go. It has shaped up. I don't understand how this works then. I'm going to read it again for you. Top 3, get special badges, resets every stream. Collect experience points by sending super chats and stickers and send live chat messages. So I don't know if maybe we were wrong, maybe putting too many messages in drops you down a little bit. Kaori's got the checkbook out. Thank you very much for your super chat, Kaori. Says this is war, lol. Oh, I might say like I might make a fortune here. Pascal in there, 35 grand. I'll have you for this. But yeah, Kaori's really going for war here. Thank you very much for your super chat, though. I appreciate that. That's made me laugh. Lovely stuff. But yeah, no, I think if you've got a car like an Aston Martin that's struggling, you may as well put a wet setup on, hadn't you, and see what's happening. And safety car, wet weather setup, things can go their way. They've got Alonso in that bloody car as well, haven't they? So there you go. But I'll tell you what, I'm gonna give you I'll give you till 1:45, 7 minutes. Any more questions, I'll answer them. If not, we'll round it up from there. But Kaori has taken P1, by the way. Pascal's gonna be devastated, absolutely devastated. CP said 2018 Sebastian Vettel. Don't. That was it 2018, the crash at Spa? Not Spa, Hockenheim. I could have cried. I was live for that. Oh, devastated. Absolutely devastated. I thought we were going to get a great fight. J-Web, did I read yours? Russell, Stroll and Hadjar's top 3. I was going to say, if we get that race, I want to see it. And if not, then I need you to go recreate it on the F1 game. I could always actually go give myself a super chat and snatch the title from you all. I don't know if that would work, but there you go. Hopefully Hamilton can find reasons to live, says Ministry of Diplomatic Affairs. He could do with them tomorrow, couldn't he? 16th place. Gained a couple of places in the sprint, though. It's Yuki Tsunoda. I don't know why. From the back there, I thought it was Sergio Perez for a second. I was like, what's happened here? But it's not. Anyway, yeah, I'd like to see him come through. Could be good tomorrow. Could be good. Aston had excellent strategy decisions at Silverstone, so I predict them for DO. Or Driver of the Day, sorry. There you go. Thank you, Nina. Yeah, they did. So did Sauber, didn't they? Well, as people corrected me, Hulkenberg made the calls. And Michael says, bold predictions, Sean, question mark. Hadjar top 5. Thinking a bit of chaos and rain, maybe. Russell top 3. And how bold do you want me to go? I mean, Hulkenberg top 7. Or we could have Colapinto scores, or we could go with Tsunoda finishes ahead of Max Verstappen. There you go. Yeah, I think Hadjar's got a great shot of points tomorrow from there in 8th place. So is Lawson as well in 9th, but I think Hadjar could finish higher than that. So Hadjar top 5 is my big bold one there. That's what I'll go with. Yeah. What was that? I just saw Yoss on his phone during qualifying. Who do you think he's trying to get fired this time? So much I'd love to sit here and tell you. But yeah, no. Haas scoring points to be relatively bold, yeah. But I mean, they're 11th and 12th, so they've got a shot, haven't they? But they've looked quick, Michael. That's been the surprise with Haas this weekend. They've looked really quick. So who knows? They might do it. They might do it. They might. But I don't think anyone's in the firing line at the moment. I don't think so, but who knows? Who knows? Let me just check the group chat because you've got me intrigued here about this one. Russell has said that Mercedes hasn't set up for the rain this weekend, on his end at least. So there we go. Max has said his upgrades are not quite there yet. Okay, so interesting one from Williams. Their upgrades are faster, but harder. The car is harder to drive. That's come from both Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon, so that's interesting. And there we go. I won't read that. Haas have split the downforce level. Satisfied with the execution of 5th in sprints. And they've got a good car underneath Ocon. So that's what Ocon said. That was post-quali as well. Just reading them as they come through. It's technically print media, so I probably shouldn't, but, there you go. Fast setups get killed in the rain. Yeah, so Russell might be in trouble there in 6th then, if he's not got a wet set. I mean, look, it's all speculative. We don't know how much it's going to rain. It may not rain at all. It may spit a bit. Maybe that fine rain that soaks you through. It might not even start. Or the race might not even start if we get 2021 levels of rain. That was... I said it in the preview, nobody's fault that it rained, but it was a little bit embarrassing, wasn't it, in 2021? I feel like DaCosta to his Fairline. Oh, I see what you're talking about with your battle there. Did the chance of rain drop below 70%, says Curie? Well, the forecast I just checked says 40, but I also know that there are other forecasts that say otherwise. For example, BBC Weather app is about as reliable as an early 2014 Renault engine, I guess. But it's Franco Champ, isn't it? I can't spell. That's Silverstone. Why would I want Silverstone? Oh my god. There you go. So tomorrow, 35% chance of rain, but then we've got thunderstorms later in the afternoon. So it seems to be all over the place. It's gone up and down all over the place since I did the preview on Thursday, or Wednesday and then Thursday. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully it's not too bad. Sights our Albon is the better driver, says Farting Golf Balls. I think I see what you're getting at there, but I'm not gonna. But yeah. Anyway, let's wrap it up there, because I appreciate that you all need to get off and do your things for the afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world. Thank you again, Kaori, for your super chat. And I think it might have been enough. But yeah, we're going to wrap up. So top fans for today, your top 5. I should get some of that old music in the background, shouldn't I? The radio chart music. So 5th place is Fudd, with Kevin up in 4th place. CPB, despite his spamming efforts, is only 3rd. Oh dear. Pascal is 2nd, and Kaori is number 1 in the chat. Pole position for Kaori as top fan. There you go. And you can tell everyone about that now, Kaori. That is the highlight of your entire weekend. Unless you manage to do it again tomorrow, and that might be the highlight because the race is more important. But there you go. Kaori P1, Pascal P2, CPB P3. So there we go. CPB has no other plans, so I'll do a private stream for CPB, which I just realised sounds really wrong, so let's quickly move on and get out of here. Just didn't sound right at all, did it, as a private stream for CPB? But that is it for this one. I will be back tomorrow, 1:30 p.m. BST, that's UK time if you're interested, for the race watch-along. Who's it going to be? Piastri, Norris, Verstappen, or maybe even Lance Stroll. You never know. Will the rain hit? That's the big question. Don't forget as well to drop a like before you go. We didn't get anywhere near 100, so a shame, but not massive numbers today, so understandable. But please do drop a like if you haven't already before you go, and subscribe if you are new. Lots to come. I'll have a wrap up from Thomas on Monday as well, and of course the preview next Thursday, and then it's back into another race weekend of streams. Lots to come. Looking forward to it, and I can't wait, as much as I love you all, for a couple of weeks off in August. It's been a long 7 months. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean. This has been the F1 Word. And until next time, goodbye.